ICE and the National Guard is out here in Chicago not playing no games whatsoever. Chicago is also in debt trying to figure out how to get out of it. And this is the price that they're paying for allowing illegals to invade the city. And they're not having their needed support from foundational Black Americans.
The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Welcome, family. Welcome, my brothers and sisters. I'm your brother Afro Elite. We're going to have a real one tonight. We're going to have a good one. We have much to discuss, and I appreciate every single last one of you all for joining us, okay? We're going to be discussing the price that is to pay for prioritizing and favoring illegals over citizens, okay, for years, okay, unapologetically so. This is what Chicago is dealing with right now. This is what a lot of major cities are dealing with right now. So we're going to have to discuss this. There's some interviews that we're going to have to break down. There's some City Hall. I was at City Hall today. And boy, let me tell you, we got some good footage for you guys. So we in here good. So make sure as you guys are coming in, hit that like button. If you guys are listening on the playback, hit that like button. All of these things are greatly appreciated. All of these things really do help. So hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. All of that stuff. Before we get started, we're kind of just gonna get right started. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to every single last one of you guys. We're gonna get right started. But before we do, you guys know what we do here. We play the copyright disclaimer to establish the YouTube. Everything we play thus far is, oh, look, here's the like button, subscribe button, notification bell. We play the copyright disclaimer to establish to YouTube that everything we play thus far is protected under the guise of fair use. So as that video is playing, give that to YouTube, what I would greatly appreciate you all doing is hitting that like button, subscribe button, notification button, all of that. We'll be right back. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, first off, let's get an update, because you know we always got to do it like a reminder / update of what's going on the ground, on the street. Okay, so that's what we're working on. So let me give you this. This is some ground footage of the situation. Viewer discretion is advised because some people might be pushed and shoved and pulled and all of that stuff. So viewer discretion is advised. So let's play this clip real fast. All right, here we go. Oh.
Come on, get back! Alma. Where is she at? I don't know.
Looking good. Not looking good. Hold on, let me show you some more stuff, because it get worse. Y'all know I kind of like save the best for last. You know what I'm saying? I like to build up to it, but I'm telling you, they out here and they making their quota. They are making their quota. I'm gonna share this clip. It was so many of the clips I couldn't even really download them all because it was just too many. I would be here all night downloading them. This is from I got this from Twitter. Look at this. Let me just make sure you guys can see that properly. this a little bit bigger. Okay.
¿Y a qué escuela va su hijo? Ok, gracias.
Tiene derecho, señor, ¿ok? Son seres humanos. I know him. Ay, Luis. Ay, hey.
You're wrong. You're wrong. What you're doing is evil, and we all know
And they're
it.
going to contact whoever he chooses to
Yeah,
contact.
I know.
himself.
Yeah, I know his wife. I'll let his wife know.
Let her know. He'll make contact. That way she can be in contact with him. He'll get put in front of immigration
Yeah, in the
proceedings
process.
to see if he can.
Can you?
There's
you tell
more
my
of it.
sister-
Hold on. Let me show y'all a better angle. Going back, we're gonna go back to this clip. Y'all see this? Hold on. The protests are getting rough, y'all. It's getting rough. It's getting for real rough. Now, let me just say something real fast. Let me say something because you're seeing a lot of liberals, white liberals. I want you guys to notice. Pay very close attention to the crowd. You don't really see really any black people out there with all of these ICE protests all around the country, not just Chicago. You got some in Chicago, you got some in LA, you got some in Portland. There's not too many black people out there, all over the place. You have not seen a crowd full of black people. You've not only a crowd full of black people, you've barely seen any black people in the crowd. And this is something that we've been saying. Black people have been staying out of this, and we've been minding our business. All you seeing is a whole bunch of white liberals who, and truth be told, most of them don't even live in the city, or at least they don't live in the parts of the city where the illegals are at. They don't. That none of these folk live in South Shore. That's a fact. None of them do. Some of them don't even live in the actual city of Chicago. They're coming from outside the city of Chicago, coming from the suburbs so they can protest, okay? And let me say something about the white liberals, all right? They like doing that because it makes them feel like heroic, and it makes them feel brave and progressive and productive, all of that. But they like doing that when it comes to issues that are not black. They won't make these sacrifices on behalf of advancing the black community. They won't make these sacrifices on behalf of reparations. These are the same people who will vote no on reparations, who will play obtuse when it comes to reparations. Like, well, I mean, it was a long time ago, man. So, I mean, Black Lives Matter, dude, but really money, I don't really know about that. That's what they'll do. But they like to protest for a bunch of illegals and stuff like that. They'll fake get arrested. A lot of this stuff is staged. A lot of these people are a part of organizations, and they're sent there so they can create the optics that the people of Chicago is fighting back against the ICE fascism dictatorship. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. That's why a lot of them are wearing masks. And I want you guys to remember I said that. They're not just doing that for tear gas. They're doing that before they get in front of a press conference and all that stuff, because they're actors. It's staged. These people, they're gonna get maybe handcuffed and then let go. I'm gonna tell you something. When 2020 popped off, I was at the protest. Okay, and the one in Chicago where stuff was like blowing up. I was there. Okay, if you guys remember, the big one, where you had the black dude riding the police horse. I was there. This was before I started YouTube and all that. It was like a couple months actually before I started YouTube. I was there. I saw the white liberals get handcuffed and let go. They would get handcuffed and let go. The black ones weren't. They were not handcuffing no black people and letting them go. They handcuffed the black person and you going in the back of some vehicle. You going in the back of a cruiser. You going in the back of a van. Okay. Or you sitting on the porch until a vehicle comes to pick you up. The white ones, they would get handcuffed and they would say, okay, Karen, sit down. Just calm down. I'm going to let you go. Just sit down and calm down for a little bit. And they would let them go. All of these people out there like, no, man, no one's illegal in a country that was stolen, dude. All of them are doing that, and they're getting handcuffed and like, no, this is fascism. And then the cops let them go because they're cousins. They're cousins. So he's like, hey, man, I don't want things to get awkward for Thanksgiving, so I'm going to let you go. Don't tell grandma about this. We're going to keep it to ourselves. Don't let them know I let you go, okay? Yeah. So, and black people realize this now, which is why you don't see black people out there, because we're not going to sacrifice our bodies. We're not going to sacrifice our time. We're not going to sacrifice our freedom, okay, to break the law and fight against the government on behalf of foreigners who would never do the same for us. We're not doing that. I just want you to keep that in mind. While you're seeing these white liberals get arrested for something, and they would immediately vote no for reparations. They would immediately, without a second thought, they would vote no for reparations. Okay. They're doing this because honestly, they really just don't have nothing better to do. This is fun to them. They just really don't have anything better to do. When we were out there protesting for our rights, we weren't doing it because we were just bored that day. They're doing it because, hey, this is fun. I get to pretend to be a hero. Okay. I'm telling you, it's not looking good for them. I got some stuff for y'all. Hold on, it's not looking good. They fighting against it. To the best of their ability. It's not really working out for them, but they fighting. They trying.
It's fine. I'm just recording. Tu nombre, señor. Señor, tu nombre.
Don't worry about it. Héctor.
Héctor, tu nombre. Rosa. Rosa, ¿dónde vives? ¿Aquí?
Put him in.
Can we get the ice emojis in the chat room, family? We got a whole bunch of folk in here already. Can we get the ice emojis up in the chat room, please and thank you? Oh, speaking of which, thank you, Deborah. Can we also, you know what, instead of the ice emojis, let's get the popcorn emojis. Y'all remember that? I know y'all already set up the ice emojis. Y'all already found that. I appreciate you. We'll use that again. But let's get the popcorn emojis, because remember they told us to sit down and get our popcorn ready. They told us that they had it under control. They said that we don't want no black people's help. We can't even help each other. Remember they said we can't help each other. Well, let's just look and see how they're helping themselves out right now. So let's get some popcorn. All right, we're having a good one tonight.
Señor.
¡Me está buscando!
¿Qué es tu nombre? Tu nombre.
Lucas Rosa.
Ok, Lucas Rosa. ¿Vives aquí?
No, mis hermanos viven en la esquina.
Ok.
¡Ayúdanos! Permíteme. ¡Ayúdanos! ¡Sí! ¡Ayúdanos! ¡Miren! ¡Por favor, ayúdanos! ¡Gracias, ayudarnos! ¡Sí! ¡Gracias, ayudarnos! ¡Gracias, ayudarnos!
I'm not that close to you.
Hey, métete. 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 Vamos. Mira, hablando español, pendejo. Pinche culero que eres, puto. Hey, métete al vehículo. Hey.
I'm gonna say this right now. They being real gentle with them. Truth be told, if it was black folk, they would have beat us in the head. We would have been tased instantly. We don't even get a chance to resist. They be hands behind your head and stop resisting, and then we wouldn't even get a chance. We'd be electrocuted, shaking all over the floor at this point.
Get him out. Get him out. Get him out. Venga. Súbese. Párese. Get him. Hey. Lo voy a poner otra vez. Hey, ya no, ya no. Vamos a hablar adentro.
It's not a good look, y'all. That's not a good look. And we have a bigger problem because they say, well, it doesn't matter if these people are here. They're just trying to be here and work really hard and do the jobs that nobody wants to do. Remember, they kept saying that they're doing the jobs that nobody wants to do. That's what the Jasmine Crockett's and all of them, that's what they used to say. Let's play a clip. Let's remind everybody, because we always got some new people who might not have seen the clip. So we got to have a reminder of everybody who is saying that they're doing the jobs that nobody wants to do anymore. And that's what they're doing. And that's why they should be able to stay here. Okay. All right. Remember that? Okay.
Be honest, as somebody who practiced criminal defense, I'm gonna be real and tell you that I walked into some barbershops and I talked to some brothers, and
because she
I'm
talks
like, all
about
right, so what you
trans
thinking?
kids, so I want to skip past
like,
that.
well, I don't know just yet. I think I'm gonna vote for her. I'm like, okay, well, you know, what's the problem? And he said, well, you know, the trans people, black culture. I'm gonna be real with you and tell you that black culture has never really been one that has embraced the LGBTQIA community.
Oh, Lord have
This
mercy.
is just a
Okay, let me
reality.
fast forward some more.
You know that he was paying for the trans people to get their
Okay, I'm
operations
sorry.
in the
She
prison.
keeps talking about trans kids. I'm sorry. Let me fast forward some more.
Let me ask you this.
Oh my God. What happened to her hair? It's like a gust of her hair wasn't even okay. Okay. And y'all make it seem like we be tripping. That's the part I don't understand. I didn't even mean for this to happen. This is the part I don't understand. And when we say she got bad wigs and then we see this and they be like, why y'all picking on her? What is this? What is this? It looked like she just got done fighting somebody. It wasn't even like that 20 seconds ago. Hold on. Oh, well, I guess it was. My bad. Okay. All right. Let me get to the ice part.
Riled up emotionally, they are getting you distracted. When at the end of the day, they are hurting all of us. I'm sorry, but there is no excuse for going after Social Security.
Okay.
Have someone come at you and say things like, the immigrants are still in the black jobs. They're taking the black jobs. That's what they said. And the ones that wasn't taking the black jobs, you know what they were doing? They were killing. Oh yeah, they was eating the dogs. They was doing that too. They was eating the dogs. They was eating the cats.
It looked like she wearing the hell. And I'm not even trying to do this because I don't bully anybody, but I don't know if this is a helmet disguised as a wig. I'm not sure. And y'all know me. Whatever you put on your head is, I guess, what you put on your head. But is this okay? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, let's focus. Let's focus.
And then they bringing all the crime to your community as well. So all the rapes, all the robberies, all the thefts, all the gangs, That's who it is. It's the immigrants.
Okay. Boy. Okay. All right. So what she was on, that's what they're on. Now let me show you this. I think y'all gonna be very interested to see this. This is some interesting stuff right here. Let me pull this up for you. Then now they taking the black jobs, and no, they're not taking the black jobs. They only doing the jobs that nobody want to do. That's what they're saying, right? They're only doing the jobs that nobody wants to do because nobody want to go out there and pick no fruit. Look at this.
Let's do breaking news now. Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement has just revealed in the last short time a police officer working in Illinois is an illegal immigrant. Radule Bajovic works for the Hanover Police Department. He graduated from the academy in August, but he has been living in the U.S. illegally for a decade after his tourist visa expired in 2015. His illegal status was discovered as part of Operation Midway. So we wanted to bring you the very latest on that. Let's do breaking news now. Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement.
Now do you illegal immigrant as a police officer? Okay. What other country has to deal with these problems? What other country has to deal with illegal immigrants becoming a part of their local police departments? Now, the other week, we were talking about how an illegal immigrant became a school superintendent. How many illegal immigrants? Let's think about that. You think the rabbit hole stops there? You don't think it goes down a little bit deeper? How many illegal immigrants are sitting elected politicians? Whose, if we dig into their legal status and their background, they might not be full citizens. How many of that do we have going on? There are already cops. There are already superintendents. How many of them are doctors and nurses? What at this point in time, do we understand how severe this issue is? This is a very severe issue. And they want to tell us, oh, well, no, let's support the local police. Well, of course you want to support the local police because they're illegal immigrants. And what type of vetting process do we have here? And this just goes to show the problem with the Illinois Police Department. Okay? This just goes to show how bad Illinois police are. Because where is the paperwork process to at least make sure that only citizens become police officers? This is how bad they just let any and everybody, as long as you got the right skin complexion, they let any and everybody become a police officer in Illinois. Evidently. I mean, come on. And this is what we're told. Now they said, well, what are black jobs? They ain't out here doing nothing but out here making sure that they pick strawberries and work at hotels and cut grass and build houses. No, they're police officers with a gun and a badge that has the immunity to take the life of an actual black citizen, a foundational black American away. They have that ability. And you're telling us that we should support them occupying the country illegally. This is what we're told. Absolutely not. And we're wondering why there's so many issues in the police department and why the police allow all of this illegal gang crime to persist, because they're cousins. They all linked in. Do you understand how much crime Trende Aragua gang member gets to have if they got people on the inside? Do you? Do you understand that this is the type of stuff that goes on in Mexico? I'm just telling the history. Let's just talk about the facts. Let's just talk about the facts. This is the stuff the cartel be on. Y'all be seeing some of those TV shows and stuff like that where one of the cartel members be all like, I got a plug, and the plug is the mayor's security or something like that. This is what goes on in their homelands. They got the criminal element out, and then they got an inside man in the actual law enforcement. Now, this is not something new in America either, because criminals always been in the police department, the police started as slave catchers. You had KKK members as police officers, so this isn't anything new. So imagine how much fentanyl can be sold and transported and trafficked, how many children can be trafficked, how much crime can go on if the police that pull up is your cousin, if the police that pull up is your brother, if the police that pull up is another gang member. Who writes a fake police report? Oh, there was nothing to see here. And they want to tell us that we need to fight on their behalf to stay here illegally. This is what they're telling us. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let me show you some more footage because the protest was getting serious out there. I'm gonna show y'all from the if it would load up. Come on now. Show y'all from this angle.
You first got on scene and you were able to talk to some
That's
neighbors
not what I
and
come
some
on.
witnesses and describe to us what initially.
Judy, wait 1 second.
Okay.
I see Chicago police are arriving and putting themselves in the middle of the situation right now. It appears there might be someone in command, from what I can see, approaching the area. I'm not sure if this is in an attempt to start dispersing the crowds, but we have just in the last few seconds seen Chicago police, who had remained at bay, now starting to put themselves in the middle of the, oh God. Protesters are starting to throw rocks. We're going to get away from the scene right now, Judy.
Okay, Michelle, you take care of yourself. I'm going to let her get off the phone. We really appreciate it. Get to a safe place. So what you're watching, what you continue to watch, is exactly what Michelle has been describing. This, again, at the intersection 105th and Avenue N. Last Michelle said as protesters started throwing rocks, and you can see that there is some chemical being deployed right there at this intersection. Just prior to this, you did see what appeared to be Chicago police officers and some commanders there trying to have some type of a dialogue with the protesters there at the intersection. It would seem that they were trying to disperse the crowd and maybe usher them off the street so that the agents could possibly move their vehicles. And it was at that point that Michelle noticed that protesters started throwing rocks, and this is the end result. Earlier, we had heard that there were pepper balls being sprayed into the crowd because someone had thrown eggs, or some neighbors had thrown something at the agents, and now reports of rocks being thrown. And that was coming from Michelle, a reporter right there on the ground. She has now gotten off the phone with us. They're trying to get to a safer place, of course, but we can continue to watch this picture. Fortunately, with Chopper 7 up in the air, we can still continue to monitor what is happening here. Again, if you are just joining us here on stream, this situation has been very tense for the last, wow.
Yeah, this is real out here. It's really real out here, for real. Okay. And it's pretty dangerous as well too. This situation is getting dangerous. I want to show y'all this one last clip, and then we're going to get to some more stuff. And I appreciate y'all being here. We got a lot of people in here, short amount of time. Y'all, please make sure that you guys check to see if you guys are subscribed. Y'all support the channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed and hit that thumbs up button. That thumbs up button is very important, very helpful. It's good for the channel, good for the algorithm, good for the views, good for the reach and all of that. Let me show you this. When I tell you it's getting dangerous out here, these people are literally losing their minds. Look at this. Hold on. This is a video. I had to mute it because there's music in the background. This is a video of the illegals in the black car, and then you see the white pickup truck. That's an ICE pickup truck, and they're ramming the car, their vehicle, into the ICE pickup truck, running them off the road. Do you see this? Look. Okay. This is why I can't stress enough how much black people need to stay completely out of this situation. This is not our fight, and these people are wild and doing crazy stuff. Anytime we protest, whether that's the civil rights movement, hell, Black Lives Matter, the George Floyd uprisings, whenever we've done that, you don't see us taking our vehicle and using that as a deadly weapon, especially against law enforcement. We wouldn't do that, not out of no respect of law enforcement, like, oh my God, I would never do that to a cop. No, because we don't do that. That's not our way of expressing ourselves. We don't sit up there and put people's lives at risk to do that. We don't do that. These people are doing that. So imagine you around the vicinity and they start doing that. Now, legally speaking, they would open fire. And this is not the first time that they've done that. They've run other officers off the road. Now, if they start opening fire and you're in the car or you're in the vicinity, you get the risk of being hit by a stray bullet. And then Brandon Johnson, if you get hit by a stray bullet, Brandon Johnson is going to come out there. He's going to have a press conference and he's going to tell people that ICE is shooting black people. That's what he's going to say for the camera. He's going to say that for the camera to rile up the community and to make it seem as if, do you guys see? And there's going to be a whole bunch of tethers online. Do you guys see? We told you you guys were next. Y'all didn't believe us. You all thought that you guys were citizens. Ha ha. We told you that you guys were next. Now you guys are getting shot. Now what you going to do? That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. We can't let it. We can't let it. We got to, this is crazy. Imagine doing this to fight for the right to stay in a country illegally. It's hard to comprehend, honestly. But imagine that. You're doing this for the right to stay in somebody else's country legally. This would be international news if we, as foundational Black Americans, did this in Mexico. Let's think about that for a second. Imagine if we went to Mexico and said, you know what? I like it here. I don't really want to go nowhere. And they said, actually, sir, ma'am, yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go back home. And we started taking vehicles and then running it into people. Imagine that. And then having the locals sit up there and cheer us on. That's insanity. And it would never happen. But they want us to sit up here and cry a river for them. Let's go to the governors, these both anti-Black, anti-reparation governors out here. Hold on. J.B. Pritzker and of the governor Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, had an interview. They also had the governor of Portland up there, but who cares about her?
JB,
I want you to listen to this segment of the interview. We just do it like this so I don't get no copyright or nothing.
Saw those images of people descending from helicopters in the dead of night, armed, masked men going into apartment building, people quite literally asleep, people without clothing. We've seen in the middle of the day tear gas being dispensed. I mean, those images are indeed chilling. Give us a sense of what you're dealing with specifically on the ground in Chicago.
The only invasion or mayhem that's occurring is happening because the Trump administration is visiting it upon our city. You saw that South Shore building in Chicago, middle of the night, Black Hawk helicopters. We had ICE agents rappelling out of this military helicopter down the side of this building. It has about 130 people in it. They were targeting a few. I'm talking about a single digit number of people that they said were gang members. But the 130.
He said a few. He's talking about a single digit. Y'all, we're all adults. You guys are very smart. I know it. I know you guys, some of y'all personally. We're very smart. Single digits go up to the number 9. Past the number 9, it's not single digits anymore. So he's talking from the 1 to 9 number. If that's single digits, okay, that's just some basic math. Where does 37 fit in the single digit category? What is 37 arrests made of Venezuelan gang members? This is what has been confirmed. When you actually look up the number of arrests, it was 37. 37. Not 7, not 3, but 37. And he's talking about, yeah, it was a few. He's making it seem like it was 2 people. 2 people, 3 people. It was 37 people who, regardless, let's keep it a buck. Regardless, if it was 2 people, if they ran into an apartment complex and they've completely taken it over, then yes, they need to be removed. Your police department isn't going to remove them because you got illegals in your police department. J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, has illegals in his police department, so his police isn't going to come and remove them. So yes, now you do need the federal government to step in, because J.B. Pritzker, first off, isn't going to have his police do it because they're illegal, and nor does he find it to be very concerning to him, nor does he find it to be an issue. Yeah, they had to go. They had to. Talking about, yeah, it was a single digit. He can't count, clearly, because 37 is not no single digit.
30 people had their doors broken down, their windows broken. Everything was ransacked in the building. We saw pictures and video of all of it. They took innocent people out and zip tied their hands, children, I might add. Yeah. And a number of these people were U.S. citizens, and others were legal residents of the state of Illinois and the United States of America. And yet they were held for hours. And these ICE agents, first of all, I don't think they really have been trained in law enforcement. Our CPD
trained in law enforcement. Okay, hold on.
The Chicago Police Department, as well as our Illinois State Police, we know that when we're targeting gang members, and we do.
Do you mean the ones that are legal or illegal, JB Pritzker? Do you mean the ones who are legal or illegal? That's just my question. I don't know if he means all of them, just the legal ones. I don't know exactly which ones he means, because you have illegals in the police department. So I'm not sure exactly which ones he's referring to do such a great job.
This with DEA and with FBI also. When we target them, we determine where they are in a building, and then we make sure that we keep innocent people away from that area, and we protect them while we go in and take people out. That's not what happened here. We had over 100 agents attacking a building. It looked like Fallujah.
First off, that's not ever how a raid works. That's a lie. That's a lie. You've never seen a raid where the police set on what they call that thing, a blowhorn. Like, excuse me, okay, all of the non-criminals step out the building because we're going to go in. You've never seen them do that. They go into the building. That's what a raid is. Okay, we've seen raids done before. As Black people, we know all too well how they operate when it comes to raids. They don't say, hey, everybody who's not a criminal, step out the building because we're going to go in there. That's not how a raid works. What is he talking about? Yeah, we make sure that they're all safe. Well, actually, nobody was really harmed, so there's not really much to criticize. That's why they're trying to make this huge deal about a helicopter being involved. If anybody was harmed, injured, hospitalized, shot, killed, anything, they would be talking about that nonstop, but that didn't occur. So they're all like, but there was a helicopter. There was a helicopter, though. A helicopter. Okay, damn. All right, cool. Okay.
And one other thing, they set up dozens of cameras for social media.
Yo, can we get some helicopters in the chat room? Since they tripping on helicopters, can we get some helicopters in this chat room, please?
Media purposes ahead of this. And then they used all of that footage to turn it into this sort of, I don't know, adventure-looking, thing for Kristi Noem's social media, so they could, I'm not sure, advertise the idea to people joining ICE. I'm not sure exactly who they were trying to convince, but it all looked like BS in their social media. it was BS, in fact, on the ground. And the result is we have traumatized children.
Of course.
We've got elderly people, again, who are held for hours. We've got an entire community around this building who's wondering, like, are they next? And this is what's happening all across the city of Chicago.
He says they have a entire community around the building. In South Shore, I'm going to tell you this personally. No black person in South Shore is shaking in their boots, wondering if they're next. First off, that building that was raided was well known. Let me tell you something about FBA. Okay, let me tell you something about our community. Okay, we make sure we keep our ear to the ground when it comes to certain stuff, especially in our local community. Okay, so we already know which buildings got who in it. So if you're the type of person who stays up on information, we already know which people. Now I can say this in particularly for Chicago, we already know. Do you know how many times I be with somebody be all like, yeah, that's the building they're in. That's the building they're in. They're all up in that. We know way too well which buildings that we know. We know this is how ICE is able to come and get them, because we be sitting up there like, they in that office over there. I want to get them before they leave for break. We already know that. So it's not like, oh my God, they're just randomly attacking people. This is why black folk in South Shore ain't scared. Black Foundation, Black Americans, we already know where they be. We already know what restaurants they work in, what factories they work in, what apartment complexes they go into. We already know this. So we're not worried about them busting down our door because we know they ain't in our house. They in that house. So when they break into that house and get them out, we're not going to be like, oh my God, I didn't see it coming, because we did. We did. We've been here too long and we've endured too much to allow a lot of things to surprise us at this point. We don't really get surprised by much of anything at this point. You know, when you're descendants of a whole ethnic group of people who survived chattel slavery, not too much really surprises you at this point. You know, we don't really get surprised by things like that. We kind of process and expect the worst. We've kind of been conditioned for that. We've been conditioned. When you see the KKK take off their robes and then put on a badge and arrest you, you know, we've been conditioned to expect the worst and not to be too surprised by that. So we already saw that coming. See, that's why the illegals are so surprised. They're so surprised because they've been allowed to be here and break the law with impunity, and they've gotten comfortable. So now when ICE is coming to their community, they're like, black, please help me. Please help me. No, we ain't tripping. No. We've seen the National Guard be sent on us. Okay. Remember in Baltimore with the protests going on in Baltimore, we've seen the National Guard be sent on us multiple times. We've seen the FBI raid our buildings multiple times. So this is something we've been conditioned to, which is why we ain't sitting up there shaking and scared and biting our fingernails off when we see this. We like, oh, okay. Oh, it's their turn now, I guess. And they're like, guys, this is unprecedented. And we like, really? It's unprecedented, though? I don't really know. I mean, they drop bombs on us, so I don't know if what you getting arrested is unprecedented. That's why we not tripping. And we not surprised, nor are we scared.
This kind of trauma that's occurring in our communities. People are afraid to go outside. They can't walk their kids to school. Again, if you're brown or black, you're liable to be stopped and held.
They're brown or black. Don't put black people in this. No, don't put black people in this. If you're brown or black, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
And this is in a circumstance where, you know, again, children trying to get to school and their parents trying to walk them there. I went to an elementary school and there were children there who were worried that at the end of the school day, when they walk home, their parents might not be home.
Yeah.
Let me speak on that, because you're trying to pull the heartstrings of certain people. Let me ask y'all this question. How irresponsible is it for you as a parent knowingly to occupy an illegal nation? You know this. Let's say your child was born here and your child is a citizen by birthright because of the 14th Amendment. Okay, let's say that. Let's say you know that if you get caught by the government, you'll get deported and your child won't. What type of parent is it? Because you don't want to go back home and deal with your homeland and fix the conditions there because you want to stay in a country illegally, that you're going to risk being separated from your own young child. It's not like the kid is 18, 20 something years old. You're going to run the risk of being separated from your own child if you're caught by the government just so you can stay in another country. That's bad parenting to me. That's bad parenting. You're not getting stuff straightened out. You're not getting your citizenship straightened out or your legal status here straightened out. You're ducking and hiding. That's why you got to come to sanctuary cities. So no, they're separating the families or whatever. To me, to be honest, the way I see it, a lot of these people are using children to stay in the country. Can we call a spade a spade? A lot of these, let's call a spade, and I'm just talking about the data. I'm just talking about the data, not to bully anybody, not to pick on anybody, but let's tell the truth. We're dealing with people who will have an anchor baby in a split second and then never see the kid again. They'll have an anchor baby in a split second by a complete stranger so they can stay in the country. Okay? This is what these people, it's not like these people are so family oriented and all of that stuff. These people use their children so they can get some right or to anchor them in another man's country, in another person's country. That's what they're doing. They're using their children. That's why you see in the courts when they're getting deported, they want their kids in the camera. They want the camera to see the kids crying that mommy and daddy is being deported. They're using their children for something not even moral, not even righteous. It's not like they're in their own home country and trying to fix their country and men, women, children got to fight together. They're using their children because they don't have what it takes or don't want to take all of this effort, all of this hard work that they claim they have back home. I can't say that I'm crying a river for them. I'm sorry. Now, I will say for the sake of the children, I don't like that for the sake of the children. I'm sure anybody and everybody doesn't want children to be in harm's way or to be traumatized unnecessarily. Nobody wants that for any child. So let's tell the truth about why this is going on. Instead of you guys weaponizing your children so you can hide behind immigration law, so you can dodge immigration law, and you're using your child as a shield to dodge ICE or to gain sympathy from the public. That's cowardly. Truth be told, that's very cowardly to do so. So let's tell the truth about that. Oh, the kids are scared. The kids are scared. Well, stop using your children like that. Y'all having anchor babies left and right with strangers so y'all can use your kids for sympathy points. And we can't do, I'm sorry, our hearts can't feel sorry for you like that. It just can't. Just can't. I want to bring you guys to an interview that we have because all of this stuff going on with ICE, especially in Chicago. Tom Homan did an interview. He had like a panel. He was on some type of panel. Chris Cuomo was there. Stephen A. Smith was there. And I keep forgetting that one dude's name, the really old one. Okay. But this was interesting.
Stephanopoulos is one of your best friends. Mm-hmm. He convicted you on television, okay, of a $50,000 bribe. Stephanopoulos did this on ABC. The vice president, J.D. Vance, defended you. And I thought he did so pretty well, because due process is...
Bill O'Reilly. Okay, that's his name.
Do you want to clarify anything about that situation?
I didn't take $50,000 from anybody.
Okay. How did that get into the mainstream, do you think?
I have no idea. Look, there's been hit pieces on me since I came back to this administration. There's got to be 30, 40 hit pieces on me about how I'm involved with contracts and government contracts, when in fact, day one I came back, I recused myself from any discussions on any contract or any monetary decisions like that, because I used to have a company that did consulting. So I cleared myself day one. What people don't talk about is I took a significant, huge pay cut to come back and serve my nation. And I'm not enriching myself doing this job.
Does this make you angry that they're coming at you this way?
I don't care what people think about me, and never have. No, because I know who I am. I work for the greatest president in the history of this nation, in my opinion, and we're doing the right thing every day.
Okay, I got one more question, then you guys jump in. The ICE agents that you command have been demonized as Gestapo, and they're kicking in doors and dragging people out, and their kids are crying. You've heard it all. But what I want you to explain tonight is, what are the orders of the men and women who are on these raids? What are they supposed to do?
Well, they're enforcing immigration laws as enacted by Congress. They're upholding the oath they took to enforce those laws. They're not making this up. So when the people want to attack ICE for doing what they're doing, but why don't you go scream at Congress? They wrote the law. I mean, ICE is just enforcing the law, but ICE is prioritizing public safety threats and national security threats, and the data proves it. I look at the data every morning on the way to work. I look at 22 pages of data, and the last time I looked at, a couple of days ago, when I actually looked at percentages, nearly 70% of everybody ICE arrests are public safety threats or national security threats.
What about the other 30? How do they get?
Many of them are national security threats. For instance, 3,000 Iranian nationals. Most national security threats don't have criminal histories. They're laying low to do the dirty deed. A lot of them are final orders. People who had due process at great taxpayer expense were ordered removed by a federal judge. Our job is to execute those orders and remove them. A lot of them are gang members. And so if you look at the data, and as far as the question is, okay, how about the ones that aren't national security threats, not public safety threats, not national security threats, not gang members? Who are they? They're collateral arrests. Because when the sanctuary cities force us into the neighborhood to find a bad guy, because they won't give us access to the jail, so now we got to go to the neighborhood and find them. When we find that criminal, many times they're with others who are in the country legally. We're not walking away from them. We're going to enforce immigration law, unlike the last administration did.
So even if...
Okay, let me pause that right quick. Let me pause that. That is how the law works. That is how it works. Now, should the National Guard been here? No. Why did it have to come to this point? Everybody's talking about, well, look at what Trump is doing and all of that stuff. And this isn't to co-sign any and everything Trump is doing. But let's just talk about immigration. Isolated from any and everything else. Okay, isolated from any foreign policy, isolated from any tariff, isolated from anything else. Let's just talk about immigration. That's it alone. Why did it have to come to the point where the National Guard is in people's cities? Why did it have to come to this point? It came to this point because J.B. Pritzker, Brandon Johnson, Gavin Newsom absolutely refused to cooperate to any degree with ICE. Okay, with the Department of Homeland Security. They, with the federal government, they absolutely refused. They said, hey, we're not helping you whatsoever. And then they went above and beyond to sign executive orders. Brandon Johnson especially went above and beyond to sign executive orders for further protection for them. So because they don't have access to easily get to the criminals, they have to now force their way in to the community. And as they're looking around, if they see old lady Maria, and I'm not even trying to be disparaging or mean or pick on nobody, if they see somebody who's not necessarily harmful to the community, but is illegal, well, yeah, you got to come too, ma'am. Sorry. And I know you've been here for 10 years. Even though you might not be harming anybody, you're not legal. If it's my job to enforce immigration and I see you're not legally supposed to be here, I got to take you too. And then here goes Brandon Johnson being all like, they're taking old ladies. This is authoritarianism. This is no, You forced the situation. First off, none of them should be here in the first place. Let's keep that a buck. Let's keep it a buck. But you forced this to happen. So all of this tear gas that you're seeing and people getting pushed and shoved and protests and all of this stuff, this is the result of the fact that you literally gave them no other choice, because you told them absolutely no ICE is allowed here whatsoever. So you've given them no choice. So now they got to go above and beyond to do what their job is to do. So you can't sit up there and make it seem like they're being extremists, because you've said there's no other way. And if we're speaking strictly on immigration, if it was me who was in charge, I would say go ahead and do that too. Go ahead and do that too, because the American country has been way too lenient on immigration in general. And this isn't just Biden. This is going back decades. Way too lenient. So we got to tighten some stuff up, because we have citizens here who need all of this care and attention and resources and opportunities that you guys are having them leapfrog us and prioritizing them. They get to come here. We don't even know their name. We don't even know where they're from. We don't even know their background, but they get to skip the line. No, here's $1,000 worth of food stamps. Here you go. Have fun. Food stamps for you. I could spare a 40, but you got to pay that back though. So no, they all got to go. All of them. So I ain't crying no river for nobody.
Collateral people, they are subject to deportation even if they don't have a criminal record?
Absolutely. If they're in a country illegally, it's not okay. Bottom line is, it's a crime to enter the United States illegally, and we're not going to turn a blind eye to that.
Mr. Holman, thank you for
being here. If the message we want to send, Bill, is enter the country legally, it's a crime, but don't worry about it.
Well, that's what we had for in the past.
That's the message we send, that enter the country legally, it's a crime, but don't worry about it. Unless you commit another crime, no one's looking for you, you're never going to fix this problem. People are continuing to put themselves in harm's way to come to the greatest nation on earth.
I got a couple.
And I said that too. Let's tell the truth. Let's tell the truth. They all know it's a crime, which is why they run the sanctuary cities, because they know there's a level of protection there. They know this. This is well known. So imagine me saying, well, breaking in is a crime, but you got to commit 2 crimes for us to deport you. What country in the world does that? What country in the world says, okay, well, breaking it is a crime, but we're not going to enforce the law until you break another crime, another law? What? What country does that? Imagine somebody saying robbing a bank is a crime, but we're not going to arrest you unless you rob 2 banks. If you rob one, I mean, we can't arrest you. We should arrest you, but we're not going to do that till it's 2. Okay. No. Let's use some common sense here.
Couple of questions. First of all, good to see you, and thank you for being on my show on a couple of occasions. I really appreciate it. But I have to ask you, when you say, okay, you enter the country illegally, it's that cut and dry, is that consistent in your mind with what the president told America during the campaign and immediately after, that he was targeting criminals, not people who just entered illegally?
Like I just said, we are prioritizing criminal aliens, national security threats, and public safety threats. The data clearly proves it, 70%. Actually, the percentage of criminals we're arresting is higher than what the Biden administration did, even though they said they're going to concentrate on criminal aliens who are convicted of aggravated felonies. And that's just a stone cold fact. We still target criminals. They come first, wars first. But are others wrapped up? Certainly, especially in sanctuary cities where most collateral arrests occur.
I have an angle that I think is what is causing trouble on this issue and for you personally, but we're here for them. So let me get an audience question. Amy, what is your question for Mr. Holman?
Hi, Mr. Holman. I'm from Chicago. And while I do appreciate all the hard work that the ICE officers have been doing, taking the worst of the worst, it seems to become more aggressive recently, probably in the past 2 months. A couple days ago, there's a large train station down the street from my house, and there were ICE officers 5 o'clock in the morning. And that's not always affecting just them. It's affecting regular citizens too. Delays, whatever. But I'm just curious why it's become so much more aggressive, and seems in Chicago mostly.
Well, a couple of things. Aggressive, I don't know if I use that term, but there's 1,000% increase on attacks on ICE officers. Have you seen the media lately? There's bounties on their heads for $50,000 to kill one of them. So they're very careful in the way they do these operations. They got to protect themselves. So I want to use the term aggressive. They're using a lot more precautions when they approach somebody. Second of all, if the mayor wants less ICE agents on the streets of Chicago, then let us send to jail to arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a jail where it's safer for Chicago residents, it's safer for the ICE agents, and it's safer for the alien. It doesn't make sense to release a public safety threat who's in the country legally back into the public. They like to say, well, we're a welcoming community. We want victims and witnesses of a crime who are illegally in the United States to feel free to come to the police without fear of working with ICE. That is a bunch of crap. Because victims and witnesses of a crime don't want the bad guy in the neighborhood either.
Amy's question, though, how common is it for the Chicago authorities to release dangerous migrants back into the population?
Every day.
Common?
Every day.
Do you have stats on it?
Certainly we do. We have a number of detainers we issue that weren't honored.
Now I want to say this. Let me pause. Because I'm trying to let it go. Because I wanted to get to another part, or I want y'all to hear another part. It's very important. But I remember when the Lightfoot administration, if you guys have been subscribed for the last couple years or so, I remember when Lori Lightfoot was the mayor of Chicago, and I was doing the reports on a regular basis saying that, hey, they're catching people and they're just letting them go. They're catching all of these illegals who are committing. It's not like they're just catching them just because they're catching them. They're catching them because they were breaking into Macy's. And remember, if you guys remember, show of hands if you guys remember that. Show of hands if you guys remember me doing that report all the way back in the Lightfoot administration. And I'm saying they're breaking into Macy's. They're not necessarily breaking in. What they were doing is they would go in, they would pretend to be shopping. They would grab a coat, they would grab a bag, they would grab some clothes, and then they would pretend, and then bam, run out the door. And they would do that, and they would collect thousands of dollars worth of merchandise, and then they would sell that. This is what they were doing. And I was saying when they would get caught, they would just give them the term, if I'm not mistaken, a reconnaissance bond, where they just get to go. Just promise you come back. And they wouldn't. Because a lot of these people would get fake names. These people would have fake IDs. I reported on that story where it was actually a white woman who was the puppet master with all of it. She had them like puppets on the string, playing with their finger, using their fingers to make a move. Okay, don't get weird with that. I'm just saying. She was doing that, and she was giving them fake IDs and fake social security cards and all of this stuff, fake driver's licenses and all of that. And what they would do is, so they can get all that stuff, they would steal from Macy's, and then they would give it to her, and then she would sell it online. And it was a story that collectively we all followed together. So yes, they are letting them go. This is something that we've been known. I've been said, y'all been known this. They are letting them go.
If you look at the number of criminals we wrestled off the streets of Chicago, ICE has made Chicago safer. The governor and the mayor should be calling President Trump and thanking him for taking public safety threats off that street. It makes the street safer for Chicago residents like yourself. No one's going to argue taking a criminal off the street doesn't make the community safer. I looked at the data this morning. There's over, there's about, between ICE and CBP, there's over about 530,000 removals. At 70%, you're looking at about 330,000 criminals that were removed from this country, which makes this country safer.
Could you explain why, when it comes to ICE agents, there's been this whole big deal about concealing their identity. Law enforcement officials throughout this country don't get the license to do that. They have to walk up to you. They have to identify who they are. They have to make sure it's clear. An ICE agent getting to conceal their identity is not a privilege or a situation that other law enforcement officials have. Why should ICE agents have that?
Look, I don't pretend. I don't particularly like the mask either, but name another law enforcement agency that's over 1,000% attacks on them. And name another law enforcement agency whose spouses and children have been doxxed on social media and been attacked and bullied in churches and schools. These men and women put a gun on their hip and wear a Kevlar vest to go on the streets every day, look for the worst of the worst, makes this country safer. Them wearing a mask, if that protects them and protects their families, then that has to be done. No one, you know, I remember the days some of these cities, if they weren't wearing a mask during COVID, you got reported to the police and got arrested for it. These men and women are trying to protect themselves and their families. And again, I don't like the mask. I wish there wasn't need for it. But there's not another law enforcement agency dealing with the attacks that ICE is dealing with right now. Look, immigration enforcement, I've been doing this since 1984. It's always been controversial. It's always been emotional. But people need to remember the men and women at ICE, they don't hang their heart on a hook when they go to work. Their mothers emotional things home with them every day. You know, I've done this for over 40 years. I stood in back of a trailer with 19 dead people who baked to death. I've talked to 9-year-old girls that were raped multiple times by the cartels. And these men and women take that home every day. These are heroes and they're patriots, and I'm happy and I'm proud to support them.
But Mr. Holman, respectfully.
Now, let me just add this. Let me add this. We are seeing, and we've reported this as well too. We've seen the fact that there's been arrests that ICE agents have been doxxed. So this isn't something that he's just saying out the blue. We've shown you that. I showed you in this very live stream how there's people running ICE off the road, like ramming their cars and running them off the side of the road. We've shown you this. This is not happening to local law enforcement officers. This is not happening to them. So there's a particular thing when it comes to ICE, and let's be honest. Is it a bad look? I would say so. It's a bad look. It's something that necessarily shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be the case where somebody's having a mask up to their nose and sunglasses and a hat on saying hands behind your head, hands behind your back. It shouldn't be the case. But when they have allowed it to get to such an extreme level, then yeah, it's the case now. Yeah, you've pretty much made it to where the only way they can do their job effectively is if they do have a mask on, is if they do have essentially a disguise. That's really the only way they can do their job effectively, because these illegals are literally willing to crash out on some kamikaze type of time in order to stay here. So when you have illegals who are like literally willing to crash out like that in order to stay here, then yes, they've resorted to having to wear a disguise in order to get them. And look, and I know it seems like, damn, this is, this ain't really a good look. They don't have a badge. We don't know their name. We don't know that. No. But if you guys are not doing anything to at least simmer down of the crowd of immigrants, and you're allowing them to run folk off the road, then yeah, now they got to up the ante. The ICE has to now up the ante now. And another thing, come on, let's tell the truth. We're going to tell the truth tonight. Another thing, black people, this is why black people ain't really tripping about they wearing masks and all that stuff. Black folk, foundational black Americans, we're not really tripping on that because we're used to that. This is not something that we're not used to. First off, all of them don't wear masks in disguise and stuff like that, but we're used to that. We're used to the FBI raiding, and they got the whole mask thing on, and they got their goggles and their helmet, and we can't see who they are. They don't have no badge. I'm used to that when it comes to cops now. I remember back in 2020, if you guys have seen, back in 2020, if you guys saw the footage or if you guys were outside, I remember cops, police officers, regular everyday police officers had that black electric duct tape, the electric tape that you use for wires. They had that covering the name and number on their badge. So when folk were out there protesting, their badges, it was showing, but their name was covered and the badge number was covered. Cops do this stuff all the time, especially if there's like a protest and all of that stuff going on. They wear masks all the time, goggles and hats and stuff like that, disguises and stuff all the time. And nobody says anything when those people are against black people, when those people are there sent to get black people. Nobody says nothing about, well, they shouldn't be wearing masks and they should identify themselves. How many times we've seen videos go viral of a black person getting pulled over and they all like, okay, well, hey, what's your badge number? I don't got to tell you that. We see that all the time. Just a regular everyday interaction with the police, and the police refuse to give them their name, refuse to give them their badge number, refuse to identify themselves. We see this on a regular basis, and there's never a fuss by the government or by the media that they're refusing to identify themselves. There's never no big fuss about that. But now when they're doing that about illegals, now this is so unconstitutional. I can't believe you guys are not you're refusing to identify yourself. I can't believe you guys are wearing masks. That's criminal. You're criminals. Now it's a problem. And now it's a problem. Okay, I see it. I see. But when they wearing disguises and then just dragging us through the streets, it's like, well, I mean, the cops have a dangerous job, you know.
I get where you're coming from, but one could retort by simply saying, you know, when Obama was in office, he actually, and I said this to you when I interviewed you on my show, Obama deported more people than Trump did the first go round, but we didn't have this going on. So is it possible that the rhetoric of the president and the manner in which he chooses to verbalize his position on this issue may serve to antagonize the situation, and that is what is calling all of this. When you consider the fact that other president, you've acknowledged President Obama deported more people than President Trump before Biden went against Obama and decided to open borders. We didn't have these kind of issues until President Trump's second term. Even in his first term, it wasn't like this. So what level of culpability should the president and his administration have in regards to this?
Well, first of all, I think President Trump was elected to the White House, the #1 issue, enforcing immigration laws and securing the border.
I agree.
We have the most secure border in the history of the nation.
I understand.
Today. And when you have the secure border, less people are dying from fentanyl, less drugs are coming in, less sex trafficking, women and children, less known suspected terrorists are coming in.
Not debating that.
Cartels are making billions of dollars less. They're going bankrupt. Okay. Having a secure border not only saves lives. When you have, like right now, 96% less people are coming. When 96% less people are coming, how many women aren't being raped by the cartels? How many children aren't dying? How many pounds of fentanyl aren't getting in? How many non-suspect terrorists are getting in? A secure border saves lives. And not only that, a secure border gives us strong national security. You can't have a strong national security.
But I'm not denying that. I'm saying I get where you're coming from. I totally agree with it. I'm just asking, what level of culpability should the administration have in terms of how it's perceived because of their verbiage and how they've served to talk about folks like this? That has exacerbated the situation. The numbers may be absolutely correct. You and I have talked about it, and I don't refute what you're saying. I'm simply talking about if he handled it a bit differently, maybe, just maybe, people would be conducting.
I'll give you an analogy that I hear all the time, okay?
Now, okay. All right. And let's say that's not wrong. Let's view this as adults. Let's say that's not wrong. Let's say Trump, and let's be honest, Trump is known for putting on the show. Trump is definitely known for putting on the show. Trump is definitely known for not holding back. Trump is definitely known for saying the most egregious things at times. Trump is definitely known for being on 10 all the time. He's on 10 all the time. All of his stuff is on 10. So let's say Trump he can calm down. If you say that for Trump, I can give you that. But you also would have to say that for the Democratic Party. You would also have to say that for Brandon Johnson, because the rhetoric goes both ways, because it's not just the White House saying something, it's them. It's them saying that these things are illegal and immoral and unconstitutional, which by definition, they are not unconstitutional. Deportations is not unconstitutional by definition. So when you do have the Democrats who are using extremist rhetoric that we're being invaded and that this is a threat to democracy and a threat to the citizens and a threat to our freedoms and our civil rights, they're using extremist rhetoric and they're exacerbating the situation. Instead of saying, hey, if your legal status is kind of iffy, you know, you might want to self-deport, so maybe you can come back later on. But they're saying, no, we're going to stand up and we're going to fight against the National Guard as a community and as a city and as a nation to protect our civil rights. And we're going to fight ICE and we're going to make sure that they don't come in the neighborhoods and get you, because they're coming to kidnap you. They're stealing your children and your grandmas away from you. And they're coming in Black Hawk helicopters and they're gonna put you in a dungeon. They're gonna put you in Guantanamo Bay. They're gonna drop you off in the middle of the ocean. When they say stuff like that, don't you think that also exacerbates the situation? You don't think that type of rhetoric also raises tensions in the situation as well too? Now, I'm not saying Trump is not doing that. I'm saying that I see that done also on the Democrat side, more so. Come on now. I get you're not trying to show Stephen A's not trying to show his bias. Okay. So he's trying to, I guess, give him a tough question because he's not trying to show his bias. I get it. But no, y'all the ones sitting up there, they're kidnapping you. No, kidnapping is when you take somebody you legally don't have a right to take. If you're deporting them, that's not kidnap.
Look, the masks, it's a bad look, all right? I understand the security problem with it, but it's a bad look. You make these men and women look like Hamas, and then you don't think people are going to react to them that way. Of course they are. They got their, it's like this stupid movie, Men in Masks Not Be Trusted. That's what you're setting them up for. I get the risk. Color of authority matters also. They should have a badge. You should be able to identify what they are. Nobody should have to guess that they're getting duped and they're not who they say they are. Everybody does it the same way. I get the sensitivity of the security. I'm with you. Two things that I think are getting stuck up. One, you talk about seeing data all the time. You guys do not put out data enough. Track is the best thing that they have, right? Syracuse University has this open FOIA request. I hear you on shows all the time, Tom. I do not think that you're FOS, okay? I've known you a long time. You can't say, I see the data all the time. Great, I don't. Put the data out, because track, you can look it up for yourself. TRAC, it's an acronym through Syracuse University. It's like 50-50. That takes me to the next point, which is you're not cutting fat, you're cutting muscle. And these communities need people who may have entered the wrong way but have done everything right since.
No. Yeah, they need no, we don't. No, we don't. Foundational Black Americans, we ain't ever needed no illegal. Well, first off, immigration since the history. Let's tell the truth. Historically, and this isn't me being in my feelings. This isn't me having a personal gripe, an axe to grind. I'm talking about historically. Everything we've done with each other. We've done supporting one another. We don't need no illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants for what? Can we ask that question? For what? Because you guys swore up and down that the American economy would crash and burn if we had mass deportations. We've been having mass deportations and we still got food. We still got eggs. We still have chicken. We still have vegetables and fruits. Okay. We still have construction going on. The same people who said, if you guys deport them because they're doing the work that nobody else wants to do, and if you guys deport them, nobody's going to do this job, and then bridges will just start spontaneously collapsing. Chickens will implode. Vegetables will dry up, and there will be no fruits, no vegetables, no dairy, no bridges, no electricity. That's what they were saying. And we ain't seen that happen. We have not seen that happen. We've actually seen more opportunities open up. They need them. They might not have come the legal way, but they are needed in the community. No, to who? To maybe some of y'all who like to use them for cheap labor. Y'all who like to use them at y'all little resorts and stuff where y'all get to pay them under the table so y'all don't have to pay them minimum wage. Where y'all get to do bogus, pretty much illegal stuff. And I don't even need to really go that far, but y'all know, we know. So yeah, y'all want them there to work in y'all hotels, to work in y'all factories. That's what y'all want. Y'all like that illegal labor because illegal labor benefits big corporation. That benefits, remember, they be all like, Trump gives these money to the billionaire friends and stuff. And I'm sure he does. Yeah, he does. I'm sure he does. I'm very sure he does. I'm very sure. The Democrats do that also. And they swear up and down that they don't like billionaires and they don't like millionaires, but they got more billionaire and millionaire friends than Donald Trump does. They do. And they allow all of this illegal labor to go on because that's a monetary gain for their billionaire corporations. It's if a farm makes $1 billion and they can save half $500 million on labor alone, yeah, they're going to reach out to a politician so they can get more illegal immigrants there to work on their farms. And the politician is going to get up there just like Jasmine Crockett and say, well, if the illegals don't pick the fruit, who's going to do it then? To get the community to settle down and to be pacified and accept the fact that this farmer is in the pocket of the politician. And now this farmer gets to have cheap labor for his farm that he gets to take home. This is all his take-home money. And this has been going on for decades, generations. This has been going on for generations. So that's why they want them over here. So they can have all this cheap labor. And the Democrats, this is doubly beneficial for them because they're trying to expedite their way so they can have voting rights in the country. So they're looking at this as another voting block demographic that they're trying to groom and get ready so they don't have to acquiesce to the demands of foundational Black Americans. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. So what do you mean we need them? No, we don't. I don't see how we need none of them. None. I don't see how we need none of them. None. But boy, you got some of the shields. I want to show y'all this one clip. Now, there was more. First off, that whole thing was like 1 hour and 20 minutes. And we're not going to be here for 1 hour and 20 minutes watching that one thing. So, of course, we're going to move on. And as we're moving on, I would greatly appreciate y'all hitting that like button. Let me get to the super chats real fast. Shout out to my brother Antithesis for the $20 super chat. He says, out here supporting. Thank you very much. Tobias says, AE, thanks, fam. Facts and receipts, B1. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you. And then we have Fuquan sends a super sticker. So thank you very much for your support, brothers and sisters. I appreciate you, family. Let's show you, because you got this. Let me show you this. Lord have mercy. Hold on.
Visited the apartment building that I raided in Chicago. Yo, they was on some Nazi shit. They were marking people home, so they were going to talk.
Hold on. Let me show you this one. This is Chicago rapper, I guess you can say, Vic Mensa, who's non-FBA. His mother is white and his dad is Caribbean, something.
I visited the apartment building that ICE raided in Chicago. Yo, they was on some Nazi shit. They were marking people home, so they were going to target. That's something I've seen in another police state that I've visited personally, which I won't say, but it rhymes with Calvin Klein. I'm going to tell you why this is just an extension of the Civil War, late-stage Confederacy, lost cause narrative. In 2023, Texas Governor Greg Abbott literally sent these Venezuelan immigrants to Chicago on a bus in the middle of the fucking winter. We were giving them food and clothing because they showed up in flip-flops and T-shirts. 2 years later, Texas National Guard is in Chicago with ICE to capture the Venezuelan immigrants that they already had because they sent them here. And they're using that as an opportunity to...
What? Okay. I'm gonna just let the whole thing play. I'll take it back a little bit, let the whole thing play, because it's not long.
That they already had because they sent them here. And they're using that as an opportunity to attack black people and democratic cities in general. That's like robbing a motherfucker and helping them find what you stole. Or better yet, police planting drugs on a nigga to arrest him. Like sprinkle some PCP on that nigga. Now I see a lot of you motherfuckers still drinking the Kool-Aid of racial division. Oh, it was just Venezuelan gang members. It's us versus them. Don't take my word for it. Listen to the black victims of Chicago ICE raids in their own words.
Actually, I just gotta break it up. I just gotta break it up. First of all, Gavin Newsom, and this is not to say Gavin Newsom is our ally. We understand a enemy of my enemy does not make them my friend. Okay, we're smart enough to know that. But truth be told, why were they welcomed here? Because I remember, and this is why I don't allow Brandon Johnson or the Chicago government, the Illinois government to blame Gavin Newsom, because I specifically remember all of us going to City Hall. It was a crowd of FBA brothers and sisters going to City Hall so we can say, hey, all of this sanctuary city stuff, we're going to have to stop that. These people are coming in by the thousands. What are we doing? Hey, oh, you're saying that we have to allow them to come in because we're a sanctuary city. Well, we don't have to be a sanctuary city then. Okay, we're dealing with a big emergency right now. Mind you, this was a lot of this was still going on during the pandemic season. So we were saying, hey, we're still recovering from a pandemic. We still got a lot of that going on. We don't need to have a sanctuary city. And Brandon Johnson made sure that stuff got shut down. So the sanctuary city status of Chicago stayed intact. And then he put executive orders to further reinforce and protect that. So while you want to talk about, well, Gavin Newsom sent them over there, they were welcomed with open arms, okay, with nice big hotel rooms, nice big warm hotel rooms, and thousands of dollars worth of food stamps. So don't make it seem as if, well, they were sent here, they didn't have to be accepted, and we were saying that they didn't have to be accepted, but Brandon Johnson, he wanted them. He opened his arms. Lori Lightfoot did before, but Brandon Johnson, he said, I'm opening my arms and I'm cutting the check for y'all too. Okay, so no. And then he's like, yeah, they're using it as an excuse to attack black people. Dude, okay. So he's concerned because he's not FBA. We as FBA, we know we're not being targeted by ICE. ICE has been around for a long time, and we've not been ICE's target at all. But ICE may be his target or the target of his family. So yeah, he's concerned. Now they're going to play the same clip that a lot of people are saying, I can't really trust the legitimacy of this clip right here, because this clip seems a little over the top. So a lot of people are questioning the legitimacy of this clip, because a lot of local South Shore residents have already come out and stated that ICE was there to get illegals, okay? But he's playing the same clip, the clip that everybody keeps showing.
Kids out too, had them zip tied to each other. It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face.
All right, look, let's go back to the Civil War, because that's what this is. Civil War was a scheme of economic opportunism dressed up in the guise of an ideological culture war. Slave owners wanted to keep their free labor, so they made it about Southern values, racism, but it's about money for real. Right now, the same motherfuckers building, owning, and operating the ICE detention centers own the American private prisons, Core Civic and Geo Group. They maxed out contributions to Trump's campaign, and they're making billions from this, bruh. If you're black still doing the anti-immigrant thing, you're literally falling into the exact trap of a multinational corporation that benefits from the incarceration and exploitation of you. They would be happy to welcome you into one of their facilities. One of the most heartbreaking things.
Okay. First off, when we get falsely arrested, don't nobody come and help us. And we're not going to no ICE detention center. We're not going there. These people are not being sent to prison. They're being detained and then sent to another country. They're being detained and sent to another country, and this is not our problem. You're trying to make it seem as if, well, we get falsely arrested, so we should care. This ain't our problem, dude. This is not our problem, because we're not in nobody's country illegally. We've never been in nobody's country illegally, so we can't relate to this.
To me about the experience was seeing that the inhumane, run-down building that ICE raided in South Shore, Chicago, had schools on both sides of it. There were kids outside with book bags when I went there. And that's what these kids are being taught, is that they're criminals in the eyes of their government. If you want to read what I wrote about this for the New York Times, drop a comment. I'll send you a link to the article in a DM. Because this ain't no motherfucking time to be ignorant drinking the Kool-Aid, man. Be informed. Because these niggas think you sweet.
Yeah, black people, we shouldn't be anti-immigrant. So what, we should be pro-immigrant? Is that what you're saying? Is that what we should be? We should be pro-immigration. Because we've been through hardship, and this is them trying to use our plight that we still have, our legitimate modern day plight that we've historically have and still have today. They're trying to use that to disarm us. They're not trying to help us. They're not trying to end that, but they're trying to say, well, because you guys get discriminated by law enforcement, you should have the feeling to where you guys should support other groups of people who do not support you, by the way, but it doesn't matter, because you guys should see the bigger picture. Because we face discrimination, isolated discrimination, we should see the bigger picture of illegal immigration. No, we're not doing that. He wants us to be off this, he wants us to be on a pro-immigrant type of tip because he's an immigrant, or an anchor baby, rather. Speaking of immigrants, there was a press conference held earlier today that the Chicago Council's member had a press conference on budget committee. I'm going to show you guys that. Here it is. This is a kind of long thing because it's like 25 minutes, so we're not going to play the whole thing. We're just going to play a bit of it to see. You see Brandon Johnson right there. You see him right there. And then I don't know who any of these other people are, but there's Brandon Johnson.
But my story is not unique, you see. It is the experience of countless other Chicagoans across our city. On this day, my organization, the Grassroots Collaborative, celebrates 25 years of organizing and fighting with communities against oppressors like rich corporations and billionaires. I am proud to stand here as a page will be turned and the way politics is done in Chicago changes in favor of poor and working families.
Yes, that's right.
Mayor Johnson understands my story. He understands that the job of government is to make the lives of poor and working families across our city better.
That's right.
Yes. And he knows that the way to do that is to stand up to Trump and his ultra-rich and wealthy friends, the CEOs and his kids. Trump is creating a plutocracy, you see, a government run by and for the rich, but not in Chicago.
That's right.
The solutions that the People's Unity Platform has proposed ensure that together we stop rich corporations and billionaires from lining their pockets and standing in the way of making it possible for working families to have good health care, put food on the table every week, get their home, their own home, and being able to put our kids through school. The urgency is now. The need is today. There is always more to do. There's always going to be more to be done. More is needed. But kicking the can down the road must stop, and the safety and well-being of my neighbors must be prioritized. We must put people before profit and babies before billionaires.
Let's pause that for a second. Where's that energy, though, when these people are literally, their labor is literally being exploited by billionaires? It's we got to stop billionaires. We got to stop billionaires. Well, you know, we see billionaires using immigrants for illegal labor. Well, I don't see anything. I don't know what you're talking about. Where is that energy when you got I'm not talking about, because when they say farms, they try to create this narrative and image that this is some family-owned local farm and it's an old man, and you know what I'm saying, with some overalls and a little gun, and his little old wife who's out there picking the carrots and all of that stuff, and they just need a little bit of help, and it's just the machines are too busy and they don't have any help, and they just need somebody to milk the cows, and that's all they need. No, these are billionaires who have massive acres of land and massive farmland, and they're having illegals do their work. They're exploiting a bunch of illegals. Now, she's not going to say anything about that, though. She's not going to say anything about that. But then they're going to be all like, yeah, we want this for working families and this and that. All that stuff is garbage. That stuff is garbage. She's there as a plant so they can boost up sympathy, because she doesn't really care. To be honest, a lot of them don't even really care about their people like that. Ooh, did I say that? I shouldn't have said that, but I said it. A lot of people really don't care about their people like that, because if they did, they would be saying what I'm saying. If they did, they would be saying what I'm saying. They don't care about their people like that. They don't. They feel like, hey, as long as we in the country, y'all get it how you live. And they use the whole the billionaires need to, pay their taxes. I mean, I guess they should. I ain't gonna disagree with that, but they don't really care like that. They really don't. Let me fast forward a little bit. Okay, hold on. Let me see if there's a particular speaker. Okay, yeah, because I want to get to Brandon Johnson, his part in it. Okay.
Yes. And we have a fearless mayor, Brother Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Thank you. I had a flashback for a minute there. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for that. I thought she was going to say brother minister. I'm like, hold on, slow down. But I'm really grateful to be here with the breath of the city of Chicago. Thank you, President Davis Gates, for that introduction. To all of our speakers, you all truly imbibe the soul of Chicago. And as a former social studies teacher, I'm going to try to stay in my lane as well. But from another literary thinker, history may not repeat itself, but it certainly does rhyme. And we are certainly walking in the rhythm of the drumbeat of justice. We are walking in the rhythm of those who have come before us, our ancestors, that believed that a room could look like this one day. And as you look on the walls of these rooms, if something doesn't reflect now the true soul of Chicago. And so, I'm going to keep my points very short here, because I'm trying to make sure that my speech is no more than 45 minutes in a couple of minutes here. But I do want to make just one real quick point, is that this budget that we are putting forward today, it was not just written by my administration. This budget was written long before I took office. These ideas were put forward more than a decade ago by community leaders on the South and West Side, by young activists and faith leaders, and those who fought to stop the closing of our mental health clinics and our neighborhood schools. This budget has been the one that we have been not just fighting for, but waiting for. The fight to make corporations pay their fair share was put forward by groups like Southside Together, and by the organizations that make up Treatment Not Trauma. This coalition has been on the battlefield for a long time, but it's also been put forth by unions who fought to raise the minimum wage, by survivors of police torture This budget was put together by everyone who organized for a more fair and a more just city. And so back then it was a victory, you all, to keep one mental health clinic from closing. But now we fight to reopen every single mental health clinic in the city. Back then it was about who made incredible sacrifices to get us to this point. And so this is just the beginning of the next phase of our struggle for justice and liberation. God bless you all, and God bless the greatest freaking city in the world, city of Chicago. Thank you.
Okay. What does this mean? What Afro, what does he mean? Okay. And this is why I titled the tonight's live stream what I titled it, The Price to Pay. Brandon Johnson is working on, and he's making proposals for the budget for 2026. We're at the end of the year. In October is when they start working on the budget for the next year. Okay, this is what the government does. So they're working for the budget for the next year. But they got a problem because Chicago is still in over $1 billion worth of debt. Yes. Chicago is still in over $1 billion worth of debt. Now, Brandon Johnson has already tried to go up on everything before to try to mitigate and solve and resolve the debt crisis that he put us in. And now we're still in a debt crisis. So now Brandon Johnson is trying to create this narrative so he can go up on everything and say, well, this is just for the best interest of the city, before he admitted, like, hey, I'm doing this because we're just in debt like that. Now he's trying to make it seem as if, well, I'm going up on everything because this is in the best interest of the city. So now he's using the mental health clinic excuse to say, well, we need more taxes. We need the citizens, the taxpayers, to pay higher taxes so we can open up more mental health clinics. That's what he's doing now, because Chicago is still in debt right now. So he's going up. He's proposing. It's not official yet because it has to be voted on. But he's proposing going up on rideshare, that's Uber and Lyft. Going up on the garbage, like, you know, you got to pay garbage fees. He's going up on that. That's his proposal. And he's also planning to go up again on streaming services. Again, he's planning on pretty much everything he did last time. He's planning on doing that again this time. He's planning on doing that again this time. He's just rewording it. He's rewording what he's doing. So this leads us today, because I was there today, this leads us to the city council today. Now, I got there just before they started letting people speak, so I wasn't able to speak, but it's fine because we have some pretty powerful speakers. If I can find, okay, here it is. If I can find it, I'll pull it up here. We have some hold on.
While our communities we're speaking.
Okay, so we're gonna play this. Let me get to the couple of super chats before we go. Shout out to Deacon. Oh, was that the first one? Okay. Deacon says, in y'all hoods, they don't have to live in. Yeah, that's true. These white liberals doing stuff like that for illegals who live in our communities, affecting us, affecting our children, affecting our elderly, affecting our women. These white liberals a lot of them don't even live in the city of Chicago, and they don't have to face the rising taxes. Chicago is crazy taxed on literally everything. Everything is crazy taxed already. Also, did I say that Brandon Johnson's also planning on going up on the taxes for groceries? For groceries? Did I tell you that? I don't think I mentioned that, but he's planning on doing that. He's proposing going up on grocery taxes for Chicago. That's another one of his proposals that these white liberals won't be affected by because they don't live here. They live outside. Okay. Deacon also goes on to say, we can't go to their countries and eat, and we can't go to their countries and get nothing. Absolutely nothing. We couldn't go there and get nothing. And then he's saying, Latin kings won't let black illegals in their hood. They would never do that. They don't even let black people, period, in their hood, let alone illegals. Then he continues to say, black politicians sell out their communities. They do. We got to get them out. Let me get to the city council. You had some speakers at the city council.
We're asking President Trump that you send us help. We need help because this is unconstitutional. The very people he told to stand down while illegal aliens and terrorists were attacking federal officers, he turned around, used those same very police officers on the residents of Chicago, the Americans. This is what this dictator did. This is what this poor excuse of a mayor did to the real residents of Chicago, the ones who built this city.
Now, if you guys are wondering, why is everybody up in that box? Everybody's up in that box, including me. I was right there. Everybody is up in that box. That's the third floor. The second floor is where we're all in, and when you can walk up to the mic, and there, everybody, Brandon Johnson, all of that is on the second floor. That's where the city hall is. That's where it is. The third floor is like, it's the level above, but there's like a window. It's huge, like almost floor to ceiling windows where you can see down onto the second floor. And because they don't want the cameras to really get a good visual like that anymore, they send folk up to they selectively send people up to the third floor. That's what they do. So that's why she's in that window. Let me get to, because this one goes on. I want to get to, she's going, let me see. So I want to get to everybody. I want to show everybody. If you don't start tripping, hold on, man, come on, don't do that. Okay, hold on for a second. See, now it's got a buffer. Now it's got a buffer.
The ones who literally were beating us. Speakers are reminded that people of all ages are listening to public comments, and we ask that you please maintain respect for others. Now that you're not getting the federal, you have nothing but
Black ladies, you've been
platform and baby people's
union. And then you had these. I want y'all to see.
It'll certainly go a long way to balancing the budget. Have a good day, fraud. Let your seals clap for you.
Hold on. This dude who comes up, and when I tell you,
Thank you very much for your comments. Speakers are reminded that people of all ages are listening to public comments, and we ask that you please maintain respect for others and refrain from personal attacks or using profanity.
The people who are wearing the masks, they're doing that because these people are a part of organizations. These are paid actors. These are paid protesters. These are working with organizations, and they're wearing masks and they're disguised and stuff like that, acting as if they're fighting for the people, that because they don't want to show themselves. So they got a whole bunch of N95 masks on. Look, this dude come up. Y'all might want to get a towel to dry y'all screen or y'all computer, y'all TV or something like that, because there's a whole lot of moisture coming over here.
Thank you. Our next speaker this morning is Nat. Our next speaker this morning is Nat.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Nat. I'm here on behalf of the People's Unity Platform and the Babies Before Billionaires campaign. I'm in with Black Youth Project 100. I just want to say it's wild hearing the literal devil Costanza, George Costanza, mention Rosa Parks when he is the person who, like his police beat up black people. His police are the ones who literally were beating us up and keep us segregated. Like, he's literally those people. He talking about, oh man, I hope y'all get beat up. Yeah, because you have a gun. Take that gun and badge off, see what happens. Okay, so next. No, you got the whole state behind you. Next, I'm here on the behalf of the People's Unity Platform and Babies Before Billionaires. We are advocating for progressive revenue to make up for the budget deficit that politicians, that these cops, that these corporations have created in our communities by stealing our...
That's another thing, and this is how you know they're plants. This is how you know this dude is a damn plant, because that's the thing that Brandon Johnson is trying to frame his budget as: progressive revenue, Just keep that in mind. Keep the word progressive revenue or the term progressive revenue in mind, because this is what Brandon Johnson is trying to market or name his budget as. Oh, this is really progressive revenue. So he's like, I'm here to advocate for progressive revenue. So yeah, he's a plant from Brandon.
Resources. That is what they consistently do. The police make up 40% of our budget. We are demanding that we take money from Google through a data mining tax. We are demanding that we take money from these corporations through a corporate head tax. We are demanding that we take money from the largest universities through a pilot tax. And we are demanding that we give all of this money to real measures to create public safety. We are demanding that all of CPD vacancies that they cannot fill because no one wants to be a pig and no one wants to beat up black people, we are demanding that these vacancies go into community funding that we have seen actually prevent violence. All CPD does.
See these vacant buildings. This is a talking point from Brandon Johnson, because what Brandon Johnson is trying to do is he's trying to strip ownership, private ownership, black ownership from foundational Black Americans in Chicago. He's trying to strip that, gentrify that, and then turn that into, with progressive revenue, turn that into public amenities and community centers and stuff like that. And what the politicians do is they'll have their activists get onto the mic and say, this is what we want, guys. We want, hold on, what's my script say? Hold on, I'm sorry. We want progressive revenue. We want progressive revenue. And we want the city to own everything. We want the city to own everything. And Brandon Johnson to own all of the property. That's what they're doing. This dude is a plant. He's regurgitating what Brandon Johnson's trying to push. And they sit up there and they plant activists to go in there and advocate for the same thing that he wants the public to be accustomed to. But he doesn't want it to seem as if it's coming from him. He wants it to seem as if this is coming from the people. This is coming from progressive. This is coming from people who want the best for the city and the best for the community. So he's going to have activists come up there and he's going to say, well, we want progressive revenue and we want the vacant lots. And the thing is that they're vacant because Brandon Johnson is not allowing people to own their property properly. That's why Zoe is up there. That's why Miss Jackson is up there. Okay? Because they be doing property owners bogus. How many stories have we talked about independently from them on this channel alone of property owners in Chicago in particular being done bogus and having their land and property taken from them? Eminent domain and all of this stuff taken from them. And they're saying, well, that stuff needs to go to the city so the city can control it. That's what Brandon wants to do. And he's having his activists say that because then Brandon can say, well, hold on, I just did what the people wanted me to do. The people said it, wink, wink, and the people said it. So I'm just doing what they said. That's what he's doing. Okay. And he found somebody from Boys Town that he could give a couple dollars to come up there and advocate for it.
Is coming to our neighborhoods, hurt us. No one wants them here, bro. No one wants them here. Well, good for y'all. Good for y'all. Thank you for beating us up. We know that violence is down. We know that if we resource our community, our people do not do these things. People do things because they don't have resources. People do things because we have no access to the mainstream economy. We have been kept out and we need our resources. Our communities have been underdeveloped. Thank you. I'm Nat. Again, George Costanza can go fuck himself.
Now,
Speakers are once again.
They would have had us kicked out if we said anything of the sort. If we said anything like that, they would have had us kicked out. Oh, they would have said, you're promoting violence, you're promoting aggression and all of this. They would have had us kicked out for that. They would have had us, we would have been kicked out and banned, if that. We've been banned for less. But okay. Well, I mean, that's his plant. That's his. He's paying him to be there, so he can't kick him out, I guess.
Look into my family's case. It's full of fraud, starting with the Rahm Emanuel administration. Mary Richardson Lowry knows about it. Marlene Hopkins, the Department of Buildings, she knows about it because she's the one who made sure it was knocked down without a court order. I need help. Send the military in if you have to. These paid protests will not win. They will never win. You're not going to start a race war and think that you're going to win this war. My mother was born and raised in this city, college educated, Catholic. My second cousin was Jesse Brown. Y'all named the veterans after the veteran VA after him. Y'all disrespecting veterans? Y'all disrespecting my mother? You're disrespecting my godfather's business that was in there since 1969, the Sandpipers Lounge? And you coon alderman that's not standing behind me? But y'all will go quick to stand behind domestic violence when I'm getting domestically violent. They're violently beating my ass? Economically? Please, Trump, please come. Operation Grey Lord, it's Rico time.
Thank you very much for your comments. Speakers, once again, are reminded that people of all ages are listening to the public comments, and we ask that you please maintain respect for others and refrain from personal attacks or using profanity. Thank you. Our next speaker this morning is Jimmy Rothschild.
Lord, first off, y'all, I want to see how much y'all, with the last name Rothschild, what community do you guys think? Actually, I don't even want y'all to say it in the chat room because those people will get this whole thing banned. Those people get the whole channel taken down. Okay, we have a damn hate crime charge on us if we even say their name, so let's not even go there. But with the last name Rothschild, we already know who coming up. I said, oh, Lord. Okay, here we go.
Morning, everybody. Got to lower the mic here. My name is Jimmy Rothschild. I live in the 33rd Ward, and I'm a community organizer at the Jewish Council on Urban Affairs. Every day in my work, I see that people in this city are struggling to stay safe, struggling to put food on the table, struggling to stay housed, struggling to send their kids to daycare. And it's only getting worse with Trump's tax cuts, sending billions of dollars from working families to his crony billionaire friends, and it's only getting worse with Trump's thugs occupying our city and violating our neighbors' rights. I come from a family of refugees and immigrants who fled persecution and genocide to come to this, the greatest city in the world. To see that type of violence enacted here on this city that my family was fleeing is horrifying. And I'm now ready.
Are you serious? Are you comparing this to what happened in Germany? This is what this guy is doing. He's comparing the ICE deporting illegal immigrants to the quote-unquote persecution, and I'm not saying it didn't happen. I don't want to make it seem like I'm bullying a community, but he's comparing this to the struggles of his community, really? Okay, all right. Because he has a economic vested interest in them being here as well too. A lot of them do, so that's why they're advocating for them.
Raising my daughter as the 6th generation in my family to call this city home. In that city, no one should be struggling to find a place to live.
And if we're gonna go there, we're gonna go there. I'm just gonna go there a little bit. I'm not gonna do too much, but just a little bit. Can we go there just a little bit? Can we go there a little bit? I just want to ask a question. I'm not gonna make a statement. I want to ask a question so we all can think. How many people do you believe from his community are not supposed to be there? Are not supposed to be here? Why is he so invested in making sure immigrants have just a free access to the city? Let's think about where people from within within a certain, not his community, because I'm not bullying him. Let's just say a random community. Why would they be advocating for that? I mean, we see them a lot in Chicago. We see them a lot in New York. Why are they advocating for sanctuary cities to pretty much allow immigrants to come in? How many people of a certain community are not here legally? See, because when we think of illegal immigrants, a lot of people automatically think of Hispanics. And okay, but we overlook the fact that there might be a lot of people from another community who may not have their paperwork in order. I'm just saying, possibly. I'm asking. I'm not saying anything. I'm asking us to think about that. Because if I said it, it would be maybe bullying. And I don't want to bully anybody because I love everybody. You know I do. I'm just asking the question. What's in it for him? Because let's be honest. Let's be honest. A certain group of people are not known for doing anything unless there's an interest in it for themselves. I'm not saying him. I'm just saying a certain group of people are not. So why is he so invested?
Put food on the table, to send their kids to daycare. We need to invest in mental health. We need to invest in real public safety. We need to invest in housing. We need to expand the investments that we've been making. Currently, the mental health first response units only operate in certain wards and only operate 9 to 5. And we know that people have mental health crises at night. We need to make more investments in affordable housing to stem the tide of displacement happening in the city, so that people
No, you're removing private ownership and actual ownership, things that can be generationally passed down, because you can't pass down public housing. You can't give your Section 8, you can't give public housing down to your children and to your grandchildren. So all of these people are all in alignment with what the Johnson administration wants to push. So they're having these quote unquote citizens, quote unquote, advocate for the same things that the Johnson administration already wants to push, which is why they're doing it.
Every single neighborhood, all 77 neighborhoods in this city can thrive. And there are common sense ways that we can get this money from the wealthiest people and corporations in the city back to the people. First, we can reinstate the corporate head tax. So major corporations are paying their fair share once again. At $40 an employee, which would be in line with an inflation-adjusted rate from the original tax, we could bring in nearly $500 million just from that. We need to implement a data mining tax so the predatory social media companies are paying to use our data. We need to get money back from expiring and surplus TIFs so that money is flowing back into the city. And finally, we need to eliminate the 1,000 vacant police positions in this budget. These are ghost cops. They're not even uniforms on the street. They're doing nothing to keep ourselves safe. And we can use all of that money to invest in violence intervention programs, to invest in real mental health. Together, these measures could bring in $1 billion back to our communities from ultra-wealthy corporations. We have an historic opportunity to create a budget that finally reflects our values in the city and allows everyone to live safe and thriving lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your...
If y'all thought y'all seen sass, y'all ain't seen nothing. Hold on. I don't know where it is. Boy. I'm telling you, it took 2 seats. It took 2 seats. Stood up, a whole row was full. I was like, oh my God, you took up a whole damn row? What is this? What is this? And I'm not trying to bully, but damn, I'm saying. Walking to the mic, don't. I'm talking about the back was big. And I'm not trying, I'm just, you know, saying there's nothing wrong with being a big back. Believe it or not, y'all, That's not even the surprising part about it. Believe it or not, listen to the voice. Listen to the voice. Hold on.
Some of us, some of the less fortunate in our community, we cannot, as a city, abandon our citizens as we're losing the most support.
Yeah. That's a male. This is a male. Now, I was sitting in the back. I was watching the people stand up. I thought, I just assumed, and that was probably wrong for me to make the assumption that because somebody's wearing a bra, they're a female. That was a bad assumption on my behalf. I guess I'm ignorant. I guess I'm too old school and stuck in my old antiquated ways, and where I thought that only females wear bras. I guess I should keep up with the times. When I didn't get to see that. I'm just seeing a bra. I'm seeing a mascara, the long hair. I'm assuming with the mask on, I'm assuming it's a big back female, but apparently I was very mistaken. I was very, very mistaken.
So we need to fund the Department of Public Health. We need to fund and expand youth jobs. We need to fund mental health services and make those services available all over the city and available at all times, not just 9 to 5 in some locations like we have now. We need to pay for this by taxing corporations and cutting the chronic police vacancies that have been used as an overtime slush fund for years. The police needs to get its budget in order. They take up the largest chunk of our budget by such a huge amount. And we also need to support community control over police and accountability. And that's why the city council needs to pass the community power over policing referendum. Right now, we have the police defending ICE. They go out there and have their backs to ICE while harassing the community. If they're actually trying to protect our citizens, why are they facing us? Why do they have their backs to ICE, chatting with ICE, joking? This week, I saw on Tuesday, ICE kidnapped a 15-year-old citizen, held him for hours, did not read him his rights, did not let him call his parents, held him in the dark for hours before just dropping him off. That is not right. On my street, they kidnapped a citizen yesterday on his way to the bank from work. This is not right. City Council,
They're using the word kidnapped. They're kidnapping. You mean they detain somebody who's illegal? And you're framing this as kidnapping. Notice all of these people that Johnson paid to be there are wearing masks. You're not fooling nobody. You're not fooling anybody. We see through this.
Calling on you to choose. Do you side with Trump and abandon your constituents to terror? Or do you want to side with the people and invest in their well-being and future? Thank you.
Oh boy.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Man. I want to show y'all something. Yeah. They getting upset, but let me show y'all, because I recorded this myself and I made sure I put this myself. Am I biased? Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. But Miss Jackson was on the mic. And y'all already know Miss Jackson. Y'all know how Miss Jackson get down. Y'all already know Miss Jackson getting down. They all got down, well, a lot of them. But Miss Jackson, let me show y'all. I made sure I record this on my own phone. I was like, I don't want this little through the window angle. Let me get my own phone. I was being dramatic with it, like this was some type of action movie. Hold on, let me show y'all.
Mayor Brandon Johnson, look up here. Look up here. Look up here. You got a real South Shore resident of 63 years up here. Not no paid protester. Not somebody that's paid with a 501c3. You got a real, live South Shore resident at this mic. Now what you're going to do for the citizens of South Shore and the black people of Chicago, you're going to stop with all this fake black facade you're doing. You're going to stop that. Because first of all, you're going to deal with the fact that word on the street is you're a Haitian. And if that be the case, that explains a lot. But if you're not, we're going to dethrone this self-acclamation you gave yourself at that Black Caucus thing, where you said that you're the freest black man in America right now. I dare you insult black men like that. You are far cry from that. sitting here talking against Trump, trying to make him look this way or that way, when we right here this morning saw you misuse the police department to violate our rights as citizens. Yes, right. You told them that they cannot participate in getting these illegal immigrants while you sat up here and misrepresented that raid on South Shore Drive like black people was getting beat up and all that over there. You know that's a lie. I live over there, and black people over there, we kicking in and we chilling because ICE ain't looking for us. And you know they're not. They're coming to get what we asked our president to do, and that was to engage in mass deportation, to get these illegals out of our country. We are coming for them seats. Do you understand that? And while you got these people up in here acting like they pro-police, if they really was about the police, against the police, whatever the case may be, they deal with that Laquan McDonald Act so that we can get y'all up out of that seat. Yeah, you wipe your face. Yeah? You wipe your face because you're probably out breaking out in a sweat. Let me tell you something. We coming for them seats. And at first, I said it to you. Then it spread it to city council. But now you're going to mess with the black people of America and American citizens by being a fraud and showing the Democratic Party by how lousy they really are. Black people in America, American citizens, y'all say it along with me. From the East Coast to the West Coast, from the North to the South. The Democratic Party, we're putting y'all on alert. All across of America. That's right. We coming for them seats. That's right.
All right, look, round of applause, family. Round of applause. Okay, so good. Let's. If I was there, I would have said it. If I was there, I would have said it. But me and Ms. Jackson, we talk about it. We're really trying to get the point out of the fact that, let's be honest, Brandon Johnson's been dodging. I'm gonna just say it. Brandon Johnson is most likely a damn tether. And y'all know me. Y'all know me for years. I don't just say stuff if I can't have if I don't have no evidence to substantiate that. I never say anything and then have to be all like, damn, I was wrong. Let me take that back. But I'm gonna say more than likely 9 times out of 10, I'm 99% sure Brandon Johnson is a damn tether. Okay, if he's not a full Haitian, he's probably an anchor baby. Okay, like Wes Moore is. Let's tell the truth about that, because if he wasn't, he would clear that up. There's not a single foundational Black American who would allow a rumor that they're an immigrant to just exist like that. You couldn't just call me, oh, I think you're Haitian. Well, no, I'm not. I can tell you where my dad's from, his dad, his mom, my mom's mom, my mom's dad. I can tell you all of that stuff, where they're from, and it's all in America. I can easily say that off the rip, off the top of my head. So can many of you guys. Y'all know where y'all people from. We don't do this vague little thing of, yeah, my people were from hardship and slavery, and I was born in America. What does that mean? What does that mean exactly? Specifically, what does that mean? We don't do that. So come on now. Come on now. And let's be honest. And I'm not, come on now. That's probably why his hair looked like that. That's probably, I don't know what they do in their homelands, because over here for FBAs, we don't cut our hair like that. We don't cut our hair like that. I don't know who cutting your hair. I don't know if this is like a tribal thing, if this is like a cultural thing. I don't know who's doing this pushback Mohawk faith. I don't know where they're doing that at. I don't know if that's a tribal, if you're doing that because it's a part of your culture, your tribe, or whatever. Which if it is, I'm not bullying. Just say that then, because I don't see no FBAs even doing that. I'm just asking. Because it would make sense if you getting your hair cut by somebody who not FBA, because the FBA brother, if you asked the FBA brother to cut your hair like that, he would probably decline. He would probably like, man, look, man, because look, FBA barbers, can I say this? I'm gonna digress for a little bit. I'm gonna digress for just a little bit. We're gonna get back to it. Just a little bit. FBA barbers, first off, FBAs, whether you are the barbers, okay, the brothers or the sisters, the ones who do hair, we take doing our hair very seriously. Okay, don't let nobody lie to you. Okay, and this stems from our history of our hair, and in particular being discriminated against. We're the only people who've had to live in a country among people who quite literally discriminated against the hair that grows out of our head. See, the diaspora doesn't really know like this. They don't really experience that because they've lived among people who look like them. We've had to live alongside the oppressor. So we've had to live in a country where our hair was seen as the negative. Okay, our hair was seen as ugly and unkept. Okay, our hair was seen as something unwanted. Their hair can't be seen like that because everybody has the same hair grade. Now, I mean, there were oppressors that lived there, and you did have like a hierarchy of, mulatto people who might have had a looser texture, right? But they don't have that stigma of you legally have to wrap your hair up. That was a legal thing where black women, because of the jealousy of white women, had to wrap their hair up. Okay, that's our culture. So when we were able to express ourselves and express our hair in a certain way, we made sure that was kept kept up very well. Okay, that's why, like, on Sunday, we making sure the hair is, even though we were at the perm stage and we're past that part, but the perming, when we was on that type of time, culturally, and this is stemming from our history with hair discrimination. Okay, so culturally, our hair is very, very sacred to us. All right, it's very sacred to us. So this is why, culturally speaking, we just don't even let everybody in our hair like that. Most of y'all, if you don't do your own hair, y'all might have one people, and that might be a family member or something like that, a cousin, your mama, or whatever, do your hair. Your siblings do your hair. And that's it. We don't have no plethora of people. It's not like white folk who can just walk into a Supercuts and be all like, "Hey, is there any seat open? Oh, okay, I'll sit over there." No, we don't do that. We walk into a barbershop, be all like, "Chris ain't here. He on lunch. I'll be back in 30 minutes." Then there'll be 5-6 seats open. Be like, "No, I got you." No, I'm gonna wait for Chris. I'm gonna just thank you though, but I'm gonna wait for Chris. That's how we get down. Okay, sisters, I know y'all get down the same way. Y'all be mad when somebody can't, not because y'all can't find nobody else to do y'all hair. Y'all want one person in particular. That black women will cancel a whole trip if their hair ain't done, and it got to be done by one particular person, or they be blue. So yeah, all of this stuff about our hair, we take that very serious. So this is why I'm all like, with our culture when it comes to hair, how do you let this happen to your head? That's what I want to know. I can see if you're a teenager and you're trying to be rebellious, like, "No, Dad, I don't like you anymore. You don't show up to my baseball games. No, Mom, you can't tell me what to do." I can see if it's like that, but as a grown man with children, who was doing this to your head, man? Who was doing this to your head, man? It's got to be some non-FBAs, man. It's just got to be. Nothing else makes sense. Nothing else makes sense. This is why they got their hairline put, because we made sure our hairlines was straight. Okay, we made sure we put our do-rags on, or the sisters put their bonnets on. We wrap our hair up. We made sure we do that. When the weather gets a certain way, we braid the hair, put it in protective styles. We make sure we do that because we have a different history when it comes to black hair than anybody else does. So this is where they can wear a janky wig. They can wear a dry old wig, or they can have a haircut that's all janky and not faded and all. They can have that because they don't care like that. It's not deep to them like it's deep to us. It's deep to us, It's deep. They don't really have a cultural thing about hair like that, unless when it comes to like maybe you can say like locks in You could say that, but that's just that, and it's not even all Jamaica, but just hair in general, oh no, FBA got that. No. So that's how I'm all like, Brandon, come on now. I can already tell. But he was upset. He was upset with what was said. So he had this to say. So now he goes on. Hold on. Let me put this up. Take this off. Put this up.
Very well. Thank you. We have been joined by the treasurer of this amazing city. Chair recognizes Treasurer Melissa Conyers-Irvin. Thank you for joining us today.
Sit down.
It's great to see both of you with us, our clerk and our treasurer. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us. I want to thank our budget and finance team, my budget director, Annette Guzman, and our chief financial officer, Jill Jarowski.
I'm going to fast forward a little bit.
Our city comptroller, Michael Belsky, and their. But whether it's mental health, affordable housing, community safety, economic development, or youth jobs, or flood relief, none of that would be possible without the champions that are here today. In fact, I think I would be remiss if I did not offer up a really strong thank you, because we don't get here without the council members. And thank you for delivering for the people of Chicago. This year's budget, it's the Protecting Chicago budget. It acknowledges a harsh reality that I think that we all can agree on. We are living in unprecedented times. As I speak this morning about our budget, we have National Guard troops from the state of Texas that are waiting on a court order to deploy to our streets. Our federal government is in a shutdown with no end in sight. Masked men with long guns, armed vehicles, who have shot residents with no transparency and no oversight. We have ICE agents harassing Chicagoans, shooting pepper balls at faith leaders, and detaining journalists. We had Chicagoans in South Shore who were awakened in the middle of the night to the sound of Black Hawk helicopters and doors being busted down. We had a Border Patrol detain a member of our city council for simply asking to see a warrant.
And that was fake. That whole thing was staged. She staged an arrest, and she actually didn't get arrested. She just got put in handcuffs, but there was no actual arrest. She didn't get booked and locked in. And this is what a lot of the politicians do. And the Democrats, y'all need to update y'all files, because this is not the early 2000s where y'all get to stage arrests. Y'all look like it's a bad Tubi movie. Y'all staging these arrests. We're like, how are you arresting me? No, fight for the people. I might be gone, but I might be arrested. I might not be here, but I'm always with you. Stop.
We had another mother screaming, pulled from her car while she was in line to pick up her children from school. One resident told the media that they put black people in one van and immigrants in another. That gets at the core.
Why would we be put in the same van as immigrants? They put black people in one van and immigrants in another. Good. The immigrants that they were picking up was Trinidad Aragua gang members. I don't want to be in this. I don't want black folk to be in that gang, that van.
Core of the issue. When they come for any of us, they come for all of us. They are pitting law enforcement against law enforcement. These unaccountable federal agents have tear gassed our police officers on 2 separate occasions. The President of the United States of America called for my imprisonment along with the governor because we disagree with him. Now
because you're breaking the law.
They are trying to militarize and occupy our city. But it's not just the boots on the ground, you all. What is even more devastating is the economic attacks. The Trump attack on our city is an economic attack on our city. The harsh reality is we're dealing with the Trump cuts. The Trump cuts to public health, the cuts to public safety, to Medicaid, to SNAP, to services that address homelessness and drug addiction. His cuts to violence prevention, his cuts to public education and transportation. This is not rhetoric, this is a reality. In fact, all of the cuts that he has declared on the city of Chicago are the very things that descendants of slaves fought for post the Civil War.
Oh Lord God. See, and why he said that. Notice every time somebody makes some type of statement, he said that because of what Miss Jackson said. He said that because of what Miss Jackson said when Miss Jackson was all like, hey, word on the street is that you really a Haitian. Okay. Notice he doesn't acknowledge that and address that. But yeah, this is what happened post Civil War. Post Civil War Reconstruction, that's not your history. And he keeps trying to invoke that as if he has a lineage tied to that history. All right. Every time somebody says something about him, particularly being Haitian, being an immigrant, but in particular being Haitian, he vaguely alludes to the Middle Passage. And now when Miss Jackson directly said that you might be Haitian, he goes all the way back to the Civil War. Post Civil War, our ancestors were fighting for Medicaid. Post Civil War, our ancestors were fighting for Medicare and Obamacare. That's what we were doing post Civil War, fighting for Medicaid and Medicare and illegal immigrants post Civil War. That's what we were doing. We were fighting for illegal immigrants to come in our communities and just do what they want to do. That's what we were doing post Civil War. Okay. This dude got some nerve invoking the history of a group of people he's not.
Trump's budget cuts, $1 trillion from Medicaid. The Trump administration is enacting the largest cut to SNAP in our nation's history. And Trump's tariffs are driving up the cost of food. That's why we are not including the grocery tax in our budget proposal. Billions were cut from housing, from the unhoused, putting 170,000 Americans at risk of homelessness. In Chicago, we still believe that the solution to homelessness is housing. That's why you will find an increase in funding for homelessness services and our rapid rehousing program, which has already connected thousands of Chicagoans from street encampments to long-term stable housing.
Remember, don't let him trick you with that. Don't let him trick you with that, because that might seem noble on its face. But remember last year, if it wasn't earlier this year, it was earlier this year, rather, my fault. It started last year and then it continued into earlier this year. They infused the illegal immigrant shelters for the quote unquote asylum seekers with homeless shelters. They infuse those things. So when they say, yeah, we're doing all of this stuff for homelessness. Well, Brandon, you've been the mayor for a couple years now. You was not talking about homeless people, not until you infused illegal immigrants into homeless shelters. Now that you have a whole bunch of illegal immigrants in homeless shelters, now you want to create quote unquote programs for the homeless people. Don't let him, let's not forget about that. Because a lot of this stuff that he's claiming he's doing, yeah, and we're housing all of these homeless people, and we need to find housing and affordable housing for all of the homeless people. That's for illegal immigrants that are just in homeless shelters that Brandon put them in because he wanted to infuse them all. So he doesn't have to say out loud that he's doing something specifically for them. Oh, this is for homeless people. And how can you be against doing things for homeless people? So this is why he did it. So he can hide doing stuff for illegals.
$2.1 billion withheld from the Red Line extension. Now, look, I don't have to tell you all how hard the Southsiders fought for this investment. 50 years they fought for this transformative investment, and Trump just cut it without a second thought. With the expiration of ESSER funds and the funds that were withheld by Trump over our Black Student Success Plan, our public school system is losing more than $1.8 billion. That money, this money, the money that should be going to our public schools is instead going to Border Patrol and billionaires. And that's why this budget proposal includes the largest city.
Y'all listen to this. And let me tell you guys, does this not sound exactly like the same thing that those quote unquote protesters were at the mic saying? Does this not sound exactly the same? Y'all listen.
The investment in our public schools in the history of Chicago through a historic $1 billion TIF surplus. These funds will ensure that we are protecting our young people from the Trump administration's attempt to dismantle and privatize our public education system, that we are protecting special education teachers, restoring funding for our Black Student Success Plan, and making sure our lowest paid workers receive their pensions. The city will do its part while we continue to work with our partners at the state to deliver on the $1.6 billion promise of evidence-based funding for CPS. These funds will also provide additional revenue for city colleges, our libraries, and our parks so that Chicagoans can continue to pursue their educations and enjoy our city no matter their zip code. We are making these historic investments because the Trump cuts will have, you all, real impact on the poor and working people of Chicago, and they will degrade the quality of life for all Chicagoans. And that is what we must understand more than anything else in this moment. We are all connected. We all have a shared destiny as a city. We will prosper together or we will flounder alone. As Dr. Martin Luther King warned us 60 years ago.
Do you see that? Do you see that? Do you see that? Do you see that? As Dr. Martin Luther King warned us. Notice all of this is a reaction to him being called out for being a tether. All of this is a reaction to that. Anytime he gets called out for him being a tether, for him promoting illegal immigrants, then it becomes super, super black. Now everything, no, this is what we fought for after the civil rights, after the Civil War, rather. Medicaid and Medicare and public housing. What? I remember the community building Black Foundation, Black Americans. We built our own communities. We were not fighting for no public housing. We were not fighting for Medicaid, Medicare, Obamacare, whatever care. We were not fighting for none of that stuff. Now he's sitting up there like, yeah, and Dr. Martin Luther King would have wanted this too. Well, Dr. Martin Luther King would have wanted us to give reparations, but we're seeing you give illegal immigrants reparations. What do you think Dr. Martin Luther King would say with you displacing Black people and stripping Black people of our ownership in the city and giving that and transforming that into public housing so you can give that to illegal immigrants? What do you think if Dr. King was here today, what do you think he would say about that? You think he would approve of that? I promise you he wouldn't. I promise you he wouldn't. But yet you get to disrespectfully invoke the name of Dr. King as if you're some type of modern day version of him. And he's trying to talk like he is. He's trying to have that same aura. He's missing the mark, but he's trying to invoke the energy and the aura of Dr. King in the way he's talking. And we will posture together or we will fall, like he's giving the damn speech on Washington. Okay? Like this is the Million Man March. We will stand together, and Trump is a dictator. And I cannot believe that the city has gone through this, but together we will rise, together we will stand, together we will fight, together we will succeed. When have you ever heard Brandon Johnson talk like that at City Hall? But there's cameras there. All of this stuff, this is so performative. The mothers being taken from their children, the children have to cry and the children have to weep and the children have to sorrow, and the pain that they go through that seeps into the hearts and the bloods of the men and the women of the city of Chicago. All that extra, come on. That all that stuff is so extra. That is so extra. That is so performative. That is so performative.
Made this point very clear. Whatever affects one directly affects us all indirectly. As long as there is poverty in this world, no man can totally be rich, even if he has $1 billion. And here's the reality, you all. There's never been a better time to be a billionaire in America. There's never been a better time to be a large corporation in our country. The president's budget, the OBBA, represents the largest upward transfer of wealth from working class and middle class to the ultra rich in our nation's history. We are talking about $1 trillion windfall in tax cuts for corporations while low-income Chicagoans are facing higher costs. Look, Chicago, you all, is the 10th wealthiest city in the entire world. 127,000 millionaires, 100 millionaires, and we have 24 billionaires. But at the same time, at the very same time, 1 in 4 Chicagoans under the age of 18 lives in poverty. Tens of thousands of our Chicago public school students do not have stable housing. In some of our neighborhoods, on the south and west side of Chicago, we have a poverty rate that's over 50%. The intense and growing wealth inequality is not sustainable, you all, for our city. We cannot separate the immense wealth of the few for the poverty and insecurity of the many. What happens in Old Town? What happens in Old Town, it affects me and my neighbors in Austin. What happens in Auburn, Gresham, affects the families that live in Rogers Park. Whatever happens, you all, in downtown affects our neighborhoods. And what happens on the far northwest side can be felt on the far southwest side of Chicago. And I'll take a moment here for the southeast siders who endured that torture and torment and terrorism. We stand with you all over this city.
And that just goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. It goes on and on and on. Then he starts talking about taxing social media, because social media is creating some national health crisis, which I'm not going to say ain't true, but you taxing social media so you can get that budget fixed. Don't play. Don't play. Because don't play. In the super performative stuff, and as if you're some type of like Dr. King. The pain on the north, we feel it on the south, and we feel it on the west, and we feel it on the east. If a child goes hungry, I go hungry. I cannot eat if I know that somebody is not eating right. I cannot eat it if I know somebody is crying. When they cry, we cry. We cry as a city. We bleed as a city. We love as a city together. Chicago is the greatest city in the world. And I will stand here and make sure that all of this happens. And when ICE comes and picks up Guanajuela and Guacamalo, when they pick them up, they picked me up. A part of their heart, it belongs to me. And if they go, then I go, and I can't love if they can't love, if they can't be in this city together with us. Dude, I'm just sitting up there. I'm just leaning back. I'm like in disbelief. And as Dr. King said before, he said this before, and I can't say it as well as he said it, but I will say that nobody is rich, and everybody is not rich, and we can all be rich. That's that socialism stuff. Let's be honest. Nobody is rich if somebody is poor. If somebody is poor, I am poor, because my heart belongs to the people, and the people belong to my heart. It was, I'm telling you, I'm like, really? Who is recording? Why is he being so performative right now? What is he doing? I think honestly, let me tell you something. Y'all, let me tell you something. I think he is really concerned. I think when Trump said that, hey, Brandon, I might be coming to get you. You might see some charges on your ass soon. Yeah, Brian, you and JB Pritzker, y'all both might see some charges on your ass. Yeah. With the stunt y'all been pulling, the way y'all been moving, y'all might be seeing some charges real quick. After that, here comes Brandon trying to make it seem like he's the modern day Dr. Martin Luther King. Well, you can arrest one black man, but unless you arrest all of us, the revolution will not die. The revolution of the black and the brown and the yellow and the red and the white and the blue and the green. We will stand together as the poor people of the city to make this a rich city. Okay. Dude, you are not no Dr. King, and you're doing this so you can build up this persona as if you're some type of great leader, great black leader, as if so you can invoke the emotions that Dr. King used to. So when Donald Trump put your ass in cuffs, people would care. No. All of this is so, and notice when black politicians, when they do on all that coon stuff, they're all fine. And then when it comes down to legal charges, they blacken it up. I'm talking about they pick their hair out or whatever, they come out there with their fists raised and they say, together we will rise or forever we will fall. Like just some weird stuff that they were never on, a type of page they were never on before. They were never on that. Since slavery, my ancestors have been fighting for Medicare. What? Huh? What? They will say stuff like that, and then when they get arrested and everything like that, they be all like, you're doing this because I am a black man who cares about the community. No. That's because you was doing some stuff you didn't have no business doing, and you and black folk, and this is why it's important that we show up to City Hall, because we're letting it be known you don't speak for black people. It's the black people speaking against what you got going on. It's the black people speaking against what City Hall has going on. We're the ones saying that what you're doing is harming the black community. We've been saying that for years. So now that Trump is talking about arresting you, okay, and you got that on your plate, and then you got the fact that you can't really find no solution to fix this budget crisis that you got us in. You got both of these things on your plate, and black people, a foundation of black Americans, calling you out for your background. Now you want to sit up there and act like you some type of civil rights icon. No, we're not letting that slide. Oh, stop watching Tubi. Stop. All of y'all Democrats, y'all be with these fake arrests, these staged arrests, these staged speeches and stuff like that. I don't know where y'all got y'all acting from, Tubi. I don't know what type of amateur actor class studio thing that y'all getting y'all classes from. Y'all need to stop. Y'all need to get y'all money back. Whatever classes y'all taking for acting, get y'all money back. Okay, because they robbing y'all. They're robbing you. Get your money back. All those Tubi courses, get your money back, because we're not buying it. We're not buying it. Don't black it up now. Notice every time they get in trouble, every time they get in some type of trouble, they black it up. They stand behind a whole crowd of black people and they make it seem like they're a damn Black Panther Party member. No, Brandon, no, you're not. And this is the price that you got to pay for prioritizing illegals. That's the price you got to pay. And you're going to sit up there and you're going to keep talking and keep making it seem like you're some type of hero, but you're not. You're not. You're not. And when you get put in cuffs, if it happens, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it happens, ain't going to be no damn free Johnson like there was a free Huey. Ain't going to be no free Brandon like there was a free Huey. Ain't going to be none of that. There's not going to be no crowd of black people outside with signs talking about free Brandon Johnson. Free Brandon Johnson. No, ain't gonna be none of that. Ain't gonna be none of that. You was not gonna get the Huey Newton treatment. You was not gonna get the Dr. King treatment. You was not gonna get none of that. In fact, you're gonna have people popping champagne and having barbecues, no matter what the time of year it is. Folk gonna be having barbecues in the middle of January if you get caught up. Don't do that. And I'm talking about it's going to be nationwide too. It's going to damn near be a national holiday. Like, damn, they having a party in Atlanta? Yep. Okay, yeah. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah. It's over with. That's the price you got to pay, dude. That's the price you got to pay. And it's up to us to make sure we speak truth to power so this stuff doesn't get programmed into the minds of the people. And I'm doing this because I've been there. I've seen it. I saw the budget. I saw him waste the money. I saw where he spent the money. I saw it. I called him out. I told him to stop. He didn't. We all told him to stop. He didn't. We told him what to do. We told him to do right by the citizens. He didn't. We told him to stop prioritizing illegals. He didn't. And now the bill has come due. And now that you got to pay it, don't act like somebody doing something wrong. We've been wanting this. And it didn't have to happen if you would have listened, but you didn't. So, oh well, that's on you. That's on you, buddy. That's on you. Family, we've been in here for a minute. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all so very much. Thank you guys so very much. I appreciate y'all. If y'all could do me one good solid, if y'all like this, if you do, if you don't, that's cool. But if you do, I would greatly appreciate if y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all do that because we've been good. We've been good with the likes. Our likes have been consistently high. So I want to keep that momentum up. If y'all can hit that subscribe button, because we be having more subscribers, a bunch of more subscribers jump onto the page lately. So that means we're doing something good, despite the setback they be putting us through. But it is what it is. And hitting that notification bell. All right. So that way y'all don't miss out on anything, because a lot of people say that they don't give the notifications, even though they say they do. They don't. But even though they say they do. All right. So if y'all do that, I would greatly appreciate that, because that does help. All of that stuff does help. All right. Letting it be known, hey, the bill has come due. The bill has come due. And this is the thing when it comes to foundational Black Americans. And I want everybody to know this, not just Brandon Johnson, not just the Democratic Party, everybody to know this. This is our time now. This is a time that this is a divine time for us now. The bill has come due for all of the groups of people who have wronged us, whether you're illegal immigrants, whether you're the Democratic Party, whether you're this group, whether you're that group, whether you're that group. The bill has come due. Everybody in the world is suffering right now. There's protests all over the place. There's people getting drugged in the street. There's people getting deported. There's people getting arrested. Look at Latasha James. There's people all over the place, because the bill has come due. The bill for you ignoring us, the bill for you harming us, the bill for you elevating buffer classes, all of that's come due. The bill has come due. Okay, the bill has come due. Y'all not getting y'all seats back. Ask Eric Adams about that. And Eric Adams tried to switch up before it was too late, but it was too late. The bill has come due, and y'all got to pay it. And I don't feel sorry for you. Now, with that being said, family, I appreciate every single last one of you all. You all have a good night, and y'all stay blessed.